We're coming up the lift because myself and my other brother finished our run. We're going up the lift. We just hear, guys, I think I broke my leg, and it's like the most calm thing. This is the most painful thing that in the world.
Emilio, the Honey Badger,
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Honey Badger Hour. We're live. Tristyn, Tyler, thank you for joining me. Welcome to the 305 Honey Badger Hour, our makeshift studio, boys. How's it going, guys?
Doing well. Happy to be here, man. Thank you for having us.
Super excited to have you guys, man. We got the fitness phenoms in the house. And you know what's funny? When we're hanging out, training all the time, Tyler, you know what I realized? We have so much things in common, but I'm way older than you guys, you know? Yeah. But between fitness and comedy, how long you been watching Kill Tony for, bro?
We both started watching, early 2020?
Yeah. Early 2020?
I feel that's when a lot of people started watching.
Yeah, before the pandemic. I think I started during the pandemic, bro. Yeah. I'm obsessed, dog. It's got to be the best content on YouTube right now, for sure, you know? It's like a train wreck, but a train wreck you can't not see, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it shows in the viewership too, man. They've just been growing.
Yeah.
I just kept watching it every single night. Sometimes I'm like, I can't watch this over and over again.
Oh my gosh, I know, bro. I saw Donald Trump. Shane Gillis, Donald Trump was on the new one that I saw. I think because Joe Rogan posted a photo with him as Trump.
Yeah,
you know,
it's so funny.
Oh my god, that one was epic, bro. The Trump thing, that's what took him over, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It went up 500,000 in a few weeks.
Yeah, right, man. So what brought you guys over to Miami? What decided you to make the move over here?
We were in LA for about 10 months.
Yeah.
And then I think from a content perspective and everything, we kind of felt we needed a shift and just a lifestyle perspective. We needed to change the scenes, get out of LA and just experience Miami. We've always wanted to travel through the States and see Texas, Florida, and we didn't spend much time in Florida prior to moving here for 6 months. But we wanted to lock down a short-term lease somewhere too, because we hadn't spent anywhere more than 6 months for 5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yo, you guys been on the road.
Yeah, we've always been traveling. Ever since, I was 15, you were 17, I guess we started traveling, and ever since we haven't really had a home. So everybody asks oh, where are you from? It's Toronto's where we're from, but we spend almost as much time traveling all around as we have back home, and at least that period that we actually remember, because I was only 15 when we started traveling and you were 17. So it's been fun. It's been a good experience, gym hopping, and it's probably the same with you. When you're traveling for all the different MMA gyms and stuff, you meet so many different cool people and get so many different experiences that you wouldn't get if you're just stuck in one town for so long, you know?
100%, bro. I always tell people, listen, I don't have much education. You know, I went to high school, I did a little bit of community college, and then I was out.
Yeah.
But man, traveling is the best education. I know so much about so many things just from traveling, getting to know different perspectives, you know? It's crazy. Some people never leave their town, their city. Yeah. They'll be in the same spot. Where me, after 2 or 3 years, I get a little fidgety where I got to move, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
But man, so what do you guys pack? What's your packing situation? A couple suitcases and that's it?
Yeah, we at the very start, we probably had a bit more. We all brought an extra suitcase or something like that. But just for the last 5 years, it's just been a single suitcase, or if we can, backpacks.
Yeah, pack as light as possible, basically. Just throw it in. But it gets annoying. That's why this period where we actually got a place here has been the most stability that we've had as far as being able to just leave our stuff and go to wherever else. So
oh, really?
It was a nuisance for a long time because it's okay, I don't want to get this or I don't want to get that because I know I gotta travel with it. So
100%, bro. You become kind of a minimalist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure, man. I never acquired no things. When I moved from Thailand back to Miami, it was crazy. When I moved to my first house with my friend in Brickell, I was I had nothing to bring. It was crazy. I didn't realize, wow, I've been living off of suitcases. I had to learn how to become an adult. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So, but you guys are still going through it right now.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely.
But man, traveling since you were 15 years old, did you get permits or something? You had to get signings from your parents to leave or something like this?
So my parents were super supportive initially with me because I was the first one. I think I was the first one to actually fully move overseas. I moved overseas when I was 15 to Spain for 6 months to play soccer.
Oh, that's right.
So and then as soon as I came back, we started doing our travels to Los Angeles and stuff. Or I guess it was before that too, a little bit, but the long stints.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we moved to Los Angeles the first time, we're okay, this is where the opportunity is. And at that point, our social media platforms had started kind of building and developing, and it was just something that we were genuinely passionate about. So we were just why not just keep traveling? And it kind of just carried through because we weren't really focused on what's the 5-year vision necessarily, but what's the next video or what's the next place that we want to go to and experience or person we want to meet.
Yeah, for sure, man. So you guys went to LA for like it's kind of like when actors go to LA and they want to go blow up, but you guys kind of went on the different like to go get swole and fucking and hit it up, you know?
Yeah, initially it was just him, right, with the Gold's Gym.
Yeah, we just I wanted really bad to just visit, just because I was the first one to kind of get in the bodybuilding side of things.
Okay, so you're like the muscles.
Yeah, a little bit, and then our older brother was really into strength training for rugby and things like that. So as soon as we got down there, we went for like a week first, and then we went back. We went back home and we saved up to go again for like 2 weeks, and then we went for 3 months, and then we went for 6 months, and then we went for 10 months, and then we moved there for like a year or so.
So when did you start building your social media and stuff like this? Like around what age you think?
So I was 15 when I first posted. So it's been about seven years, almost 7 years.
Oh
now.
wow, it's not that long, man.
Yeah, and it's not that long, but it feels like a lifetime because of how much stuff we've been able to do and stuff. So it progresses. It's something that can progress extremely fast. Like it's pretty exponential. So, but it was something that was pretty unexpected when we started, and it allowed for us to travel and stuff. But it wasn't necessarily like when I was super young. I always thought that I'm just gonna play pro football or soccer.
Wow.
But then as soon as the social media stuff took off, and it was an opportunity for all of us to keep building and growing and stuff, so we just really genuinely loved the travel and stuff, and that kind of overtook the other passions that we had.
Yeah, Dan. So I remember I was talking to your brother about it. So, but you've always been like super shredded, ripped, right? Like had like the crazy physique, right? Like even when you were playing, what do they call it in? You had to switch to calling it football when you went to Europe, right?
Yeah.
And then, but in Canada they call it soccer too.
Yeah.
They keep it Western style, dog, for us Canadian.
Yeah.
So what do you call it now? But now you call it soccer, I guess, so people understand.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I pander to the community, so I don't get shit on in the comments.
You got to pan it to
soccer, football. Yeah, just ram it together.
Yeah, you got to pan it to the simpletons. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But man, traveling a lot, do you feel like your lingo, like in your words change? Like you can kind of get a grips of all the different places where you go, huh?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Especially when I was overseas, more so. I mean, Western culture is pretty similar as far as like, especially because like Florida, East Coast is pretty close to Toronto, I find. And we didn't live right in like the city of Toronto, and we also didn't live in like the farmlands of Canada where they have more of the accents and stuff. So whenever we kind of travel so frequently, we kind of just we're surrounded mostly by each other. So we keep whatever we have. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys don't sound Canadian, you know, like T or you know what I'm saying? And you guys all sound like, it's like more of American. Yeah, pretty normal. Yeah. You know what's funny? I say a lot of weird words. So I say like a lot of English and Australian words. Cause I've been over there with those guys for like 10 years.
You definitely pick it up for sure.
I say mate and stuff like this. We're like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, I'm like, what's going on, lads? Yeah. Another one I say that I heard a comedian podcast was making cheers. I always go cheers. But they don't really say that in America, huh? You know, like when I say good thing for anything, I go, yeah, cheers, bro.
Even when we went for like a few weeks or just for a week to London a few months ago, like we were instantly trying to shift over and just start using like words that they say frequently, and
or not use words that we say basically.
Yeah. Oh man, London's crazy. Everything's like a question. We're like, oh, it's good, isn't it? You know, like and they always repeat the last thing in England. You know. Bro, what did you guys eat when you were in England? That's crazy.
The food there is not, I mean, to each their own, but it's not the greatest. So we found it definitely difficult to find good quality foods. But we're pretty standard with like most of our meals and stuff. We don't eat out a ton. So we just find a steakhouse and just go to it and hope it's good.
Except for Nando's there.
Yeah, that's true.
Which
Nando's
one?
there.
Nando's.
Oh, you know about Nando's? Do they have Nando's in Canada? Or is there Nando's?
Like one or two.
Yeah, there's one or two.
Yeah. Is there any in America? I had it for the first time in Singapore.
We saw they had it in Houston, but I'm not sure if they have it anywhere else. I think like Houston, Chicago, and like that's it.
Bro, Nando's is fire. I haven't had it like in 3 years since I left Asia.
It's so good.
I think it's an English brand.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
And then they moved to England. I mean, to like Asia a lot. And then when I went to South Africa recently, I was with my boy in the mall and I saw Nando's. I freaked out. I went over there right away. The peri chicken and stuff like this.
This guy's buying the peri
sauce. They sell the sauce.
You get the sauce,
here.
right?
Yeah. They don't have the restaurants.
Was that your fit? Does that your fit? Your that's a little bit above your, but that's gonna have a little bit of sugar and stuff, right? That's when it's like a cheat meal.
You get the extra hot and just the normal peri. There's no sugar, so we're good.
How's your palate? You guys can do like spicy style, like hardcore.
Our older brother can't really.
He can't.
Do you much?
I do spicy stuff.
Yeah, for sure. It was hard for me. Like when I first moved to Asia, like Thailand, it took a while. But then after a few years, and I got pretty good with it.
Yeah.
And then I'll have friends visit, and then I'll be like, oh no, it's not spicy. And when they eat it, they almost die. I'm like, all right.
You build the sensitivity to it.
Yeah. Be like, yo, I'm getting stronger with it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so you travel Europe to play football. What were you doing at that time, Tyler? Just getting swole, lifting?
I was still in school because he had switched to online school to be able to travel overseas. So I was still just doing my normal thing like school, rugby, some wrestling and things like that. but yeah, we were just going through normal school, and then after 6 months he was back. So it was kind of just, we were FaceTiming throughout, so it wasn't like he was gone for too long. And then as soon as we got back, we made our, I think it was like a month or two after we made our first longer trip to LA. And that was when we kind of started doing more content around fitness and stuff like that.
And how did you know when you're like, oh, we can do this? Like when you don't have to, like, was there like a turning point or like a video that you made where you're like, oh snap, we're not gonna, this can be our work, like we can monetize this?
Well, early on when he started his social media, we were all kind of following the fitness bodybuilding world, and we saw how other people were doing it. And he got invited to do like a guest posing at a small bodybuilding show. So he kind of like just documented leading up to that, and then they started to circulate more. And then we made that first trip to LA, and we just started reaching out to people to try to connect, like trainers, to actually learn from them rather than just, at first we weren't thinking about content at all. We were just like, let's go train with these top trainers that we know of and see if they'll actually be willing to train us. And as soon as we got there, they started connecting us with more and more people, and we started creating more and more content. And from there it was like, we need to get back to LA so we can make more content and like draw more income in and just like keep building the platform for what it is, because it's just cool and it keeps growing faster and faster. So we're like, this could be something in the future, I think. And at that point we just kept making more and more trips until, I guess,
it turned into a living.
Yeah, it turned into
That's
a living.
awesome, man.
I think being at the age that we were, because we started so young, there was a lot less risk. We had like our parents' support and stuff,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are more likely to, I guess, take opportunities when they come, as they come, versus as you get older and you're more established, it's a little bit more difficult to like step out and do those sort of things. But because I was only 15, he was 17, and our older brother was still in college and stuff, it was still an opportunity for us to like take whatever paths and explore whatever paths we wanted to do. So we didn't look at it even as like this is a business opportunity initially. It was more so like this is our genuine passion. The other things kind of are going hand in hand with it, especially when I was pursuing professional sports. At the same time, that kind of leveled me to the sense where I wasn't like, I need to build this because this is all I have. It was always like, that is the goal, and then this is something that I'm using to document along the way. And then these guys have like obviously supported that a ton and documented their progression throughout this as well. So
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the thing, right? Like sometimes people, they think about the monetization things, like, oh, we got to make this money.
Yeah.
You can kind of see when something draws up because of money or something draws up because of passion.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it's weird, right? Through the lens, you can see it, right? And like, but when you chase a passion and that's all you're worried about, it's crazy how then that's how things tumble. You know what I mean? Like you chase a passion, you're not worried about the money, but then the other stuff comes because you were so into it to begin with for the real reasons, I would say, right? Like your passion for fitness is what drove you, not your passion to blow up or make money, right?
Well, when we first like started everything, being a fitness and bodybuilding type influencer wasn't even a real thing. Like it wasn't that big. It was just like
well, social media
competing.
wasn't an avenue really to like make a ton of money at the time when we first started,
especially for fitness. Like fitness, the scene for what people think is making money has blown up dramatically in the last 5 years, and he was just using it more as a platform to, I remember you even talking about doing like highlight reels for soccer on Instagram and stuff like that, and he was documenting a lot more of his like football content leading up than he was, than you are more recently. But
oh yeah, for sure.
And then it led into more fitness as time went on, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys strike with Instagram and stuff first, or was YouTube like your? What did you find first, or did they work kind of coincide together?
We were running your Instagram for the first year without YouTube, right?
Yeah, I think like partway through the first year of doing social media, like when it started to take off, I said that I wanted to grow both platforms at the same time because I knew that like there wasn't much depth to having one platform. So pretty much as soon as we noticed that there was some leeway, some takeoff as far as the Instagram platform went, we started making YouTube content. And then that was around the time that generally we got to Los Angeles and we're speaking to other like creators and people who were very established in the space. And they kind of were like, yeah, like just get it going, actually start speaking and start getting yourself known as like Tristyn Lee or Tyler Lee or the Lee brothers rather than just the shredded kid or just the face on the internet that you see all the time, right?
Okay, nice. Yeah. What's so good is that you guys have you three, so you can kind of like, I'm sure it's tough. Like, man, working with your brothers got to be crazy, you know?
Yeah.
But you have that tightness where you can say what you want to say, where like maybe if you guys were just working together, you would be a little bit shy to be like, hey, what the hell, you know? But then you guys can kind of let it out. But you all know that you have each other's best interests, so it's like you're protected, you know what I mean? That's great, bro. For sure. I've always wanted brothers, yo, so I'm kind of jealous, you know?
It's a blessing for sure, man. And I think it's an anomaly because I ask, like, even when other people that we connect with say they have siblings, and I ask them, like, are they into fitness, or are they into the same passions? Like, a lot of the times it's not. They're just
Separate,
working.
right?
They have their own families, their own jobs, which is fine, 100%. But it's kind of something that we've always done together from the get-go. Like, we started off with longboarding and skateboarding together, and then we went to like snowboarding and snow sports, and we did all of them together every single day. And then it got into the gym, and it was like every single morning, 4:30 a.m. we're in the gym together, like no one else there. So it was kind of something that naturally and organically happened, and it's been something that we've been able to carry through into the business as well. Not to say that there's not difficulties, but I would say that the level of like adversity between or complications between us is definitely a lot lower than what a lot of people have experienced. So
yeah, man, you guys are early birds. You've always been early birds.
Yeah.
The whole family, all you guys.
Yeah, I was probably the latest.
Ooh.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I tried, bro. What time you guys wake up now? Because I remember you telling me before.
I mean, you get up
3:34.
3:34.
Yeah.
3:34.
Yeah.
What do you mean 3:34? Hold on a sec.
Yeah.
That's like you're 3 hours too early, bro.
Yeah.
All right, there's that one video I like watching. The one guy said like that 4 a.m. people, you know, like there's that time.
Yeah, I don't think it's inherently something that makes you productive or successful because I'm going to bed earlier, but I just find that because it's a time that nobody else is up or there's no distractions around me, that allows me to do that. And I think habit is better than trying to fit some other routine that like Instagram says is the hustle culture or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you're able to get into a consistent habit, which I have since I was like 15, I had to go to train, then go to school, then come back, do my work, then go to training again, then like whatever else, and basically go to sleep and wake up again, and so on and so forth. So that's carried through. And then as we started doing things together, it was the same situation you had to do with school,
Yeah,
right?
I'm a little bit later. I'm like 5 or 6 now. Or now I'm even later, but
Yeah.
we'll show him that. It's,
Yeah, he's training martial arts, dog.
Yeah.
We need a little bit more
Yeah.
sleep for the recovery, dog.
yeah. But yeah, that fitness was kind of like the equalizer for all of us. So like when we all had separate things going on, whether our older brother was away at school or Tristyn was dealing with his football pursuit and stuff like that, we all still had to get up at like 4 a.m. before whatever we had to get done in the day. So we all went to the gym at the same time throughout high school, like 4 a.m. And then we get it in our first session, come back, eat, and then just go on with our day, and then possibly go back for a PM session later on.
That's so true, bro. So I started lifting weights when I was 16. I got super hardcore into it, like getting swole. I remember one summer, and then I got lucky that I had a friend of mine who had an older brother that they all used to work out and stuff like
Yeah.
this. One of them was like an older brother. One of his older brothers, like this old school prison guy who just got out of jail, like did like 2 years in prison. He's like one of those badasses. You know what he reminds me of? You guys ever seen the Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
You know the one guy, the one with the friend, like the guy who
Yeah.
sells Quaaludes or
Yeah.
whatever, like the old school guy. Lives with his parents. That's like I had one of those guys that was my friend's older
Yeah.
brother, and he kind of like took me under his wing, you know. And I started working out with him. When I first started hitting the gym, I was just going to like the little clubhouse in my area. And then I signed up to LA Fitness, and I was working out with him every morning. And he was like, I remember one year from summertime, like from 10th to 11th grade, people thought I took a cycle or something because you just got so, when you're young, you know, you can really get strong, you know.
Yeah.
But he taught me that like that kind of like work ethic, and then that's when I got really into waking up early in the morning also.
Right.
Because I read in a magazine that your protein levels your testosterone levels are at the highest in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I used to want to go to the gym and get the biggest lifts, but I always felt like I'd lift better in the afternoon after
Yeah,
like
so
a day
I mean,
at
it
work.
really is dependent on the person. A lot of people do operate that way, and I think a lot of like studies have actually shown that lifting later on in the day is better because you have more food in your system, more electrolytes, like all that different stuff. But I've always operated better earlier. I think it's a lot of like just individualism depending on the person.
Also, if you're up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, you're getting the same amount of food in by
Yes.
say 9. If you're training at 8 or 9, you're getting the same amount of food as someone who wakes up at 8 and then goes and trains at 12 or 1 or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, so you started lifting, so you were going to the gym lifting before going to school and doing soccer practice and everything. So you had to get it in before.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
I had training afterwards, so I couldn't go afterwards. I
Yeah.
had to do whatever work I had to do. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yo, I was watching this documentary. You guys follow like ADCC, you know, the Abu Dhabi Combat, like they have the big jiu-jitsu tournament coming up.
Yeah.
And there's this kid, he's 17 years old. His name's, I think, Dorian Olivera or something like this. He was in Bangtao at my buddy's gym too. This kid, I was just watching a little thing on him. 17 years old. He does straight college. He does high school wrestling. He won like the nationals in high school, and then he won the ADC trials at the same time, which is mad. And I was looking at his schedule. He wakes up every day 5 in the morning and he runs 3 miles and he does conditioning. He's like, yo, I do conditioning and run every day before my day even gets started.
Yeah, it's
You know?
insane to see the level of phenoms coming out of like, I mean, in all aspects, especially MMA, because MMA is one thing where, I don't know, soccer, bodybuilding, whatever it is, you kind of have your own like lane where you're not having to be like physical, like hands-on, but a lot of these guys coming up are being thrown in against grown men, and it's like crazy.
Exactly. Fighting is the one sport that, man, I don't care how good a kid is at 17. I was like, I don't know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just have that oomph on them, you know?
Yeah.
You feel the difference too, and I feel it with my training partners and like young guys, you know? That's the one hard thing about MMA. That's why you see a lot of MMA fighters, like they start to peak like 25, 26, you know?
It's a young sport.
Yeah. Because like you can have all the skills and stuff like this, but there's something about that man strength that you guys, you know, is real.
Yeah.
You know
I mean,
what I'm saying?
all other sports kind of cap out before 30 for the most part, right?
Yeah. I think like 25 to 30 is like the sweet spot for most sports, right?
Yeah.
But then you got LeBron James, bro. LeBron James is
It's
older than me.
always the one anomaly,
Yeah, man. And now with the fitness and stuff like this, and with smarter we're getting with nutrition, bro, I feel like we're light years
That's
ahead of
what
what
it
the
is.
guys in the 80s, right?
Especially when you see kids now you're just gonna see a bunch of athletes. That's why you see like all world records always getting broken.
Yes.
Because you get these young kids who are getting access to information at such a widespread level with TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, and they're just going and experimenting for themselves. And whether it's a little like kid in some village in Africa that wouldn't have seen any of this stuff before social media existed is now getting access to that information and feeding into whatever their actual talent and skill is, and you're just gonna get. And this is like just the start of it. You're gonna get like people basically bred like the football kids, like the 3, 4, 5 year olds in Spain that are just like, or Brazil just kicking a can or whatever it is. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, bro.
But you're gonna see that with other sports now.
100%. And MMA is so fresh, especially jiu-jitsu, MMA.
Yeah.
But like soccer, football's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Soccer, football, baseball. So they have programs, camps where you can be like 5 years old. At 12 years old, you're gonna be like, oh, that kid's a prospect. And you already got like colleges looking at kids and stuff like this.
For sure.
Like I know when my cousin was playing, he was in my Peruvian cousin. He was traveling also. He went to Europe playing in the Euro leagues.
Right.
When he was like 15, 16, but he also kind of knew that I was like, I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy. You know what I mean?
You're gonna know after a certain point. That's kind of like that breaking point where, I mean, I knew for myself that I wasn't at a certain level, and I think like when you go and you play against top level players, you kind of distinguish yourself.
You're like, oh.
And you see it's like this guy, like I started playing when I was, I don't know, I've always played, but when I started playing at like 10, 11 kind of deal, right? And these kids have been, like, they've held a ball since they came out of the womb. Like,
Yes.
it's like, how am I supposed to compete? And I think it's going to take so much time, and you're starting to see it, but for that to get over here, because it just literally takes the time for these kids to be bred into the sport.
Yeah, man.
So you see how fast it's progressing too. Like even in the lifting community, the kids that when we started, it would be insane if you saw some 17-year-old kid like deadlifting 500, 600 pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
That's insane. Now you look and some
800, 900.
some 17-year-old kids lifting 800-900 pounds, and people are like, it's just another day. There's just another one of those kids.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Everything's just normalized now. Yeah.
Did you guys do weight training in high school?
Yeah.
In high school?
Yeah.
Did you get the shirts where they do like we have the shirts where
Yeah,
if
you
you
have
get
to
like
wear the high school shirt.
No, but like if you hit the benchmarks, like I had some friends that had like 225 shirts for bench press and deadlifting and stuff like this.
Yeah, I wish we had that. That would have motivated me for sure.
Yeah. Were you throwing up big weight? I've seen you throw up those. I've seen you throw up those crazy dumbbells.
I'm a lot stronger now than I was when I started lifting. When I started lifting, I was dragged into the bodybuilding aspect of things, so I was really focused on time under tension control and all this other stuff, less like explosiveness and strength, which arguably I should have been focused on for soccer. But anyways, beside the point. But when I was young, I didn't really like lift super heavy until like maybe 16, 17, and then I started I'm actually progressing pretty well, and I could probably start like jumping up in my weights and stuff.
Yeah. What about you? When did you start throwing up the big weights?
I started with lighter stuff as well, especially because our older brother, when he started his strength training, it was mostly for rugby and stuff, so he was working in low rep ranges, so he was focused on building up slowly, and he didn't want to get injured or anything like that. So all of us were kind of hyper focused on that at the beginning. The only high school clip video of him is with was it 3-pound dumbbells?
There's like 5-pound dumbbells, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like the first viral clip for him, so it was like, it's pretty crazy that we just started with that really early on.
Because that's the opposite of what most people do, yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about that. So, but with the weights, right? Did you guys ever hear it stunts your growth, weightlifting? But then I heard it's not true. Like 5 years later, and then now I see little kids like in Russia doing like that, like throwing like snatches and stuff like this.
I think the only thing that would be a concern is whether or not you're damaging your growth plates, which is very, very difficult, especially at the level that kids are at. They're just not able to handle enough load. Generally, structure like joints, growth plates, all this different stuff is able to manage a lot more than muscles can, even at a grown age, rather than a kid who's like probably benching whatever. 135 is impressive if you're a kid. So I think that the risk is definitely way lower than what people think it is. But I think the caution that most people need to have, or concern that most people need to have, is whether or not these kids are trying to rip 400 pounds off the ground with no preparation, no technique, like any sort of assessment of technique or anything like that. So, which is genuinely a concern, because like egos are involved when you're young, and egos are involved when you're old too. That's why like 90% of people, man, I can't squat my knees, and it's like, well, maybe if you just lighten the load, you could squat, and then you just progress from there, and you'd be able to build back up to where your knees are able to sit down without pain every single day, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I think that now with like kids being so easily having such easy access to the information out there now, the risk is way lower than it used to be. Like when we started, it wasn't like there wasn't a hyper focus on lifting light or anything like that. It was all like guys go in the gym to be a gym bro and just like lift heavy and do crazy weights and stuff like that. So now it's much different. Like the entire culture has shifted to people wanting to hyper focus on that at first, like we did for the first 3 to 5 years probably, before we started really pushing weights in terms of how heavy we can lift and competing with each other in any kind of way.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you got to learn the technique first, right? Because I'm sure that happens to a lot of early bodybuilders. I don't know if this guy's, for me, I messed up my shoulders. A lot of my injuries that I have from MMA, they're really from weightlifting when I was younger. I think, I don't know if this is myth or something, but they say like when you're young, you know, and your body grows fast, your muscles grow faster than your joints can hold. So I think I was benching a lot and I hurt my shoulders, you know, trying to bench too much. And I blew out my shoulders pretty bad. That the same feeling I had when I hurt my shoulder benching, if I get sprawled in wrestling or something, that's that pain, you know, from the... I don't know if that's a myth though or not. I think. Well, I mean, it depends. It's situational, right? Like I wouldn't discredit anybody's injuries because of what happened, but I think a lot of times is that people don't allow for enough time for that adaptation to actually happen, where your body's able to work through particular ranges of motions, and that's where you have issues. So whether it's a nervous system issue or actual like muscle joint connective tissue issue, is kind of depends on the situation. But I think if most people focused on like primary principles of training, which is like eccentric control, which is like when you're going down on a movement or when you're lengthening the muscle, like working through a full range of motion. So actually doing like a full ass to grass squat or a full deep lunge, any of those different movements, or actually going on a dumbbell press down to as low as you can comfortably. If people did that and consistently with their progression alongside their growth, then they would have a lot less injuries and there'd be a lot less injury risk than people make it seem. But again, egos get involved, and then that's where it kind of gets thrown all out of whack.
Especially with people in sports. Like
bro. Like for me, so I got lucky that anything that I felt would injure me in my martial arts, that's why I'm like, when it comes to the weights and stuff, I'm very like careful, you know, because I've heard so many people like, oh, I hurt my back trying to do a snatch, like they'll go to a CrossFit gym. Like back in the day when I first started fighting, conditioning wasn't too known yet, right? So most guys, they would just go to a CrossFit gym. So they were prepared for a fight. They're going to do 3 days of CrossFit, and those CrossFit people, they, like, I mean, those are great workouts, and I've always felt super fit doing CrossFit for like a month, but man, you just go into a class, you do a couple of fucking like practice snatches, and like, all right, go, and then you're doing like a Murphy or something where it's like
crazy, it's insane.
It's like going to like, I don't know, you probably equate it to going to a high level martial arts gym as a beginner or something like that.
Boom.
You get thrown into the wolves, and you don't know the proper technique, you don't know what you're supposed to be focusing on, and your instincts aren't there, so they'll throw you in like to the wolves, and you'll be like, I'm injured after the first session.
You go to the gym, like doing the CrossFit class, like going to the gym on your first day, like, all right, there's Sean Strickland, all these guys in there. You're gonna do 5 rounds with Sean Strickland on your first day of training, and you just get beat up, and you think that's the way it is, you know?
Yeah, your body's just not used to it 100%.
100%. Oh man. And then so the injuries, did you guys learn, or did you have what about technique and stuff like this for deadlifting and benching? Do you read on that, or you got coaches for this?
We were sharing studies back and forth between each other since the start of high school. Like when I started researching probably when I was 16 or 15 or 16, and our brother is 4 years older than me, and he's 2 years younger. We all started around the same time. But as soon as we all got into fitness at 4 a.m. and stuff, we started sharing articles back and forth about different training principles and like what's right, what's wrong, and we'd like, sometimes, especially me and my older brother, we'd argue about which study makes more sense and which is more backed. But then we all started listening to podcasts and things like that as well, and just continuing to try to find the best information out there. And then when we started learning from different trainers and stuff like that, that's when it really took to another level of like, okay,
Application.
application to whether it was to sports for him for soccer, because that's what got him into the gym, is he needed to be the stronger guy on the field and like stand up against taller guys. And then, for me, for rehab purposes, when I broke my leg and stuff, I had to figure out the joint specificity and like the proper mechanics for everything. So we all kind of had each other to bounce off of.
Nice. How did you break your leg?
Skiing. I was.
Everybody gets hurt skiing, bro. That's why I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like that and mountain biking. I went mountain biking once. I crashed. I was like, I never again. Do jiu-jitsu with road rash. Oh.
Yeah.
So skiing. Oh my god, some sick ass skiing.
That was the first experience at Ego, because I was like, it was the last run of the day on like the slopes of the only mountain kind of in our area, and these guys are both egging me on. They're just like, just do it. Don't be a pussy. Just go it. And I just overshot the jump, and I just missed the landing pad and landed on flat ground.
It was a jump.
Yeah,
it's like Olympic. It's the only like Olympic sized jump at the resort. So.
And you hit it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hit it, and I completely got too much speed. They're like, you just gotta get enough speed, and then you'll make it. And then I'm like, all right. So I bomb it, and then I missed the landing pad, landed on flat ground, and it was a butterfly fracture. So I was like, the bone just split into 3 pieces.
Did it come out of your body? Did it come out of the skin?
No, luckily.
It's so calm. We're coming up the lift because myself and my other brother finished our run. We're going up the lift. And we just hear, guys, I think I broke my leg. And it's like so the most calm thing. This is the most painful thing that like in the world. Breaking your femur is one of the most.
You broke your femur?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's the one, bro.
Yeah.
That's the one that in paramedic school they talk about. That's the largest bone in your body, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of the hardest bones to break, and it's supposed to be the most painful. And they're just like, I don't know how he wasn't screaming at the top of his lungs, because he wasn't in shock. He was fully aware of everything. And all we hear is, we're just like, nah, it's probably not that bad. It's just Tyler overreacting.
It felt like what you imagine a dislocated knee would feel like at first, though. And I think it was because of the type of fracture. Like, it wasn't a direct break. Like, it wasn't a clean break. It was like impact. So it landed straight down. So it split like this and went like into 3 pieces.
Yeah.
So when that happened, it was just like, it felt like it was floating around my leg, kind of. And there was a very slight ACL tear, but I didn't need to have surgery or anything on that. So.
Oh my god.
Good.
Have you had any extremely bad injuries?
Bro, thank God. The worst I've had is the worst one I had was like I hurt my ankle really bad. I like sprained my ankle wrestling practice like a week before the fight. My last week of training too. That one sucked. That was the most painful, you know, like because I remember like I just slipped and my foot was swollen. You don't realize how important your foot is, you know, like, and then they said that the ankle, there's nothing you can do about it. You just gotta let it heal on its own, you know.
And it sucks because you're trying to walk, you're trying to move around. It's used all the time for everything. Yeah.
You don't realize it, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, that one was bad. I was on crutches, and then I was teaching, you know. So I was like, oh my gosh, and I had to like learn how to teach moves that I didn't have to use my ankle, you know. But I was gonna ask you, when I went to the lady told me it would have been better off if I straight broke my ankle. And it would have recovered better. Because I fractured it, it was like way longer recovery. Yeah. So because of yours, if it was a straight break, did they tell you it would have healed more? It would have healed more?
They said, well, I wouldn't have. Let me try to think. They said that, well, it was one of the worst type of fractures because it splits it literally into 3 pieces.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
Being 2, but the benefit of the type of fracture is it didn't break the skin at all or anything like that. So when they got in, they were still able to align the bones with a metal rod. So I still have a titanium rod in my leg.
You still got them in you?
Yeah. It just the bone forms around it, right, and just calcifies. And then there was like 6 screws, like 2 towards the knee, 2 in the middle, and then 2 towards the hip. But they all just healed perfectly fine. And within 6 months, I was I was in a wheelchair for about a month, and then crutches, and I slowly got back to walking and doing rugby and stuff like that again. But after that it was just tough to kind of work my way back into it.
Yeah, but it probably motivated you to like recover, right? Because like were you bedridden for a long time?
It wasn't the worst thing that happened to me, just because once I broke my leg and started rehabbing and stuff, that's how I kind of really got into the gym. Before that, I was going in and doing just kind of like full body workouts 2 to 3 times a week for sport and stuff like that. But I really didn't get to understand how the body works and like how much you can improve yourself in the gym. If I didn't break my leg, I wouldn't have got that level of understanding.
Boom, yeah, it made you kind of learn your body and like kind of appreciate more, you know. So then now when you do your lifts and stuff like this, because you're very you guys are both very agile. You agile. I'm sure you're just as agile as you can do a split.
No,
Tristyn,
no,
you can do a split, right?
I can get pretty close.
Bro, because when we first started training, you were, jacked, dog. I think, are you a little bit leaner now or about the same?
I'm a bit leaner, I think.
About leaner? I don't know, actually.
A little bit lighter, a little bit leaner.
What do you think? He looks a little bit leaner or
I
what?
think he's a bit leaner. I don't know if he's lost any muscle, but he's definitely leaner for sure.
Yeah. But yo, you're very agile, and I was not expecting that. You know what I'm saying? Like you got like good high kicks. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's genetic but you do stretch a lot. You work a lot on your mobility and stuff like this, right?
Yeah, I think just doing the full range of motion type things in the gym just helps a lot. And I've been kind of focused on that as we've got deeper and deeper into the bodybuilding things, because there's periods where we were focused on only gaining muscle, and then from that you kind of get restricted.
You get rigid, right?
And we've also seen people that we don't like, or I've seen people where I'm like, I don't like this guy's physique, and it's obvious that he's developed it in a certain way where he just only does a certain motion, and then he doesn't have the range of motion to be able to like pick something up. So people, like a lot of bodybuilders, won't get injured in the gym, but they'll go and they'll try to carry a box somewhere, and then they'll tear a bicep or they'll tear a tricep, and it's like, what's that all for if you can't use what you build, right?
Yeah. You guys, what about you never tore no biceps or nothing like this, right? Like anything like this?
No.
You came pretty close. It was like
yeah, my bicep. So the one time I was really ego lifting when I was trying to bring my bench up. This was like the second time. I think this was a few weeks after I was like 16. I hit 315, and I was like, I'm gonna go for another PR. And my body's just not recovered. This is like the time where I'm like, I'm gonna bench every week. I'm gonna bench every day. Why not? I'll just try it. And so what happened was I came down. Tyler was spotting me. It's just I had like janky old bench at our home gym, and I come down and I press up, and in this middle portion I felt like a pop. And initially thought I dislocated my shoulder because it was kind of felt just like loose and stuff. But it was my bicep tendon rolling over my shoulder joint, because your bicep tendon attaches into your shoulder joint. So when I came down, I was obviously super tight, and it just rolled over, and so I lost all tension in that area. And then I wasn't even like I don't know. I just felt I was like I tore something. I went and got it checked out, and it was fine. But there was a lot of like inflammation around that area, and ever since then it's kind of been like I've been super cautious with my lifting.
Yeah, you could feel it, right, and stuff like this.
It wasn't a perfect lifting environment either. Like it was the garage gym, and there was like peak winter, so it was freezing cold in there.
We got like heaters in our gym trying to.
You guys are waking up. I forget about that. So that's a good little reminder for the people out there. Not only you guys are waking up at 3:30, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, but you're doing it in Canada where it's freaking cold, bro.
Yeah.
That's when you want to sleep in the most, bro. Yeah. If I wake up and it's like 60 outside of Miami, I'm like, I'm staying in.
We're like shoveling our driveway, trying to get our car, just enough for our car to get out. The plows haven't come through yet for our streets.
That's
right. We're like, the gym opens at 5, so we got to finish shoveling by 4:30 so that we can get there for opening.
I forgot about that, yo. When I was younger, I did like to, when I was, but you know what? When I was younger, I did like to wake up early. And when I lived in New Jersey, so I had a few summers.
Okay, so you've dealt with it.
Yeah, so we were 12 years old. But when it would snow, I forgot about that. You got to clear out your driveway.
So annoying. That's one thing I don't miss for sure about Canada.
Yeah, man. Yo, Miami and California, you guys have been dodging the cold. Yeah. You're smart. That's why, though, because you've been dealt with that shit your whole life.
Places, yeah.
For sure, man. What do you like the better, California weather or Miami?
I like the like how it's consistently sunny and hot here.
Yeah.
But California, the lack of humidity in comparison to here, it just feels like perfect air.
During the summer months, California is probably better, I think, right?
Yeah.
Bro, back in the day, right? Everybody would always go to California. Nobody ever came back.
Yeah.
That was like
what I think is that like generally I like it here because I enjoy the heat, but California gets too cold at night, which I don't like. I'd be like, here it's just consistent. It's not as doesn't get as cold, but in California it drops off to like 65 at night, and you're like, it's pretty cool. Like it's not cold, but it's like it's cool for sure compared to here.
Yeah, even in LA, right? Like all California gets cold at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if you're not up north, like in the valley or something. If you're down in Santa Monica, it'll get down to
by the water.
Oh, right, on the water it gets cold.
Yeah.
And the oceans are freezing. That's the thing, right? The oceans are always cold.
Cold.
You go still go in the water and stuff like this, right? You don't mind it, I guess.
No, it's not too bad. It's not like unbearable, but it's definitely colder than here.
Is the water blue over there, like Miami? The water's pretty blue here, right?
It's more blue here, I think.
Yeah.
There's just more pollution in around Los Angeles.
I think I definitely prefer going in the ocean here too versus in California.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing about Miami. The water, it's like sometimes like a pool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's hot.
Nice.
Sometimes it's hot.
Yeah.
So I don't like when it's hot. You know.
Yeah.
The beaches are nice here, but in California they have the mountains and they have all the different sceneries where you can go snowboarding, skateboarding, and surfing all in the same day, right? So that's the dream there.
I was gonna say that's what California. That's what I was gonna tell you guys. We're living in Toronto. You get to go skiing. You know, you get all the seasons, and I love. There's some great stuff to do in the winter, man. I heard skiing. My friend, who's like he used to be a professional BMXer and skateboarder. He loves skiing. Is his favorite. Oh, snowboarding he does. But he says when you snowboard and you're like on good snow, he's like it's like you're flying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Toronto's not like the best for it because it's pretty flat. It's a lot of like farmland and stuff. But if you go out to like Vancouver, West Coast, which is near like California and stuff, then you get the best of the best. Yeah.
Toronto. So you guys don't speak French, and Toronto's not a French province at all, huh?
No, just Montreal, pretty much, or Quebec, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Quebec
Quebec.
Yeah.
Sounds French, right?
Yeah.
Quebec.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so then in Toronto, so what? Is there still French? Is there a lot of people in Toronto who speak French, or is mostly like no, not at all?
I'm sure there's some, but not.
It's almost all English. Like it's not like here is insane how many people speak Spanish. It's crazy that don't speak English. It's not just like they speak both, but like there's so many that they'll just it's almost assumed that you speak Spanish, and obviously we don't. So it was definitely like it took a second to adjust to, just kind of like understanding that people just don't understand you, or you can't just have a conversation with anyone basically. So
yeah, I heard Miami's pretty bad. Is California? Because California has a lot of Mexicans. I heard so like is a lot of people speak Spanish in California, but not like prevalent like here, right?
Yeah, I think English is still the main for.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially like LA and stuff like this, right? You got like all like the Hollywood people, you know.
Yeah.
That's where you get like the Cali accent.
And everybody
like,
moves there. Like everybody moves to California. It's or Los Angeles specifically, I guess.
Oh yeah, nobody's
like,
really from there.
Yeah, there's very few people that are from Los Angeles, or that at least that I've met. So.
Yeah.
Man, and you guys meet anybody from Canada, like in America, like through do you guys know people from Canada that when you guys come over here, like in the social media world and YouTube and stuff like this?
Probably the Nout Boys.
The Nout Boys are the main ones.
Oh, that was the Canada plug. That was you know them from Canada.
Yeah, they helped us. Well, I mean, we actually met them in the U.S. because we've just been traveling so long. But whenever like we're both back in Canada, we'll always live there, or we'll live. I mean, they just moved out here, so we'll live here sometimes and stuff. But yeah, they're like the biggest probably Canadian YouTube.
Yeah, I always forget that they're Canadians first, huh?
It's cool. Everyone we met in the States that's from Canada, we kind of have a bonding because everyone just like. It's the same people that wanted to kind of get out of Canada and go and do something else.
Yeah.
So we met them like kind of peak pandemic stuff.
Well, and they're from like a lot of them, like Kyle's from 30 minutes from where we were born. So
oh, no way.
Yeah, they're like super close to us.
But he does sound a little bit more Canadian. He does have a little Canadian twitch.
It's just if you play hockey when you grow up. I think that's
You play hockey, right?
They call it puck talk, right?
He played hockey for like a couple years really early on, but our family in general was the kind of lesser out of the neighborhood.
Oh,
But everyone in Canada kind of turns on the voice to be eccentric sometimes. Especially the now guys, like with their videos.
They play into it for sure.
They play into it, yeah.
So you think he's got Kyle play hockey? They all play hockey probably coming up.
Yeah,
that's
most
like the football,
kids,
right?
yeah, 100%, yeah.
Even us, like we played road hockey growing up a lot.
Like with skates or on regular feet?
Yeah, usually like
on roller skates, right?
Yeah, rollerblades, just out in like the courts where our houses were and stuff.
Well, you guys can play outside too. There's lakes that freeze off, and people play hockey like in lakes and stuff like this.
During the winter.
Has anybody ever heard anybody falling in the lakes? People fall in.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah,
that's an ice bath, dog.
It's crazy,
you know?
yeah.
You seen those Russians like when they do like the ice? You guys like sauna? You ever do sauna like for recovery and stuff like this? Like
he does it more than I do, but occasionally I will. Yeah.
I love it. I like the hot. I don't like ice baths. You know, like there's a craze about it now. I don't know about like how legit that is. Like Joe Rogan's got everybody jumping in ice baths every morning. You know.
I think it's more of a mental fortitude thing than it is a physical.
I know, but I'm like, you could do something else for mental fortitude than freeze your body. You know.
For sure.
I used to think it was because when you're really sore, it takes all your bad blood and you because you know when you get cold, they say like if you're gonna drown, you're better off drowning in cold water.
Yeah.
You know, because like all the blood in your body goes to the center to keep you alive, you know?
Yeah.
So I heard that when you do ice bath, that's what it is. Like, it takes all the bad blood, it goes to your heart, and then it freshens out fresh blood.
So generally it'll lower inflammation, which is good and bad. If you're doing something like MMA and you need to jump into a fight after you've done hard sparring or if you've done just hard training in general, or if you're like a basketball player who's playing in like a NBA final or whatever, and you need to get like game after game after game, and you want to just like speed up the process of being able to get back in there. Mm-hmm. It's not actually speeding up the recovery process. You're actually slowing down the recovery process, but you're delaying it to allow yourself to play in whatever sport that you're playing, because you're lowering inflammation, and inflammation will cause soreness and fatigue and stuff, but it's also the thing that causes you to heal. So if you don't have the blood there, like to heal, then you're not going to be healing. But it would allow you to prolong that so that you're able to play in whatever game you need to play.
And that's inflammation from training, not from like inflammatory foods or anything.
Yeah.
Like that, obviously.
Oh my gosh, the foods, bro. I was talking to Tyler. I couldn't believe it. I'm sure you're on the same boat. He said you haven't had a simple sugar in like 5 years or something crazy.
Yeah, probably 5 to 6 years.
Yeah. I mean,
Bro.
since I started social media.
You too?
Yeah.
Like no, but you've accidentally had foods with sugar in it and stuff like this. Or just
Like
try to
probably
avoid it?
really early on, but now we've kind of learned like where to go from, like avoid, or if like there was ever something, you become super sensitive to it, so you notice a lot of the changes from it.
Since we
for
started
sure, right?
traveling together, I think like that's when we all kind of turned the switch of like we can read every label and we can know where to go for food in terms of restaurants and stuff. Where we're gonna avoid the things we want to avoid.
No, I know. When I used to be like when I was like heavy into bodybuilding, I was like very strict on my diet. Like I was like crazy about it, you know. When I was gonna say when I was growing up though, like when we started lifting weights, I used to learn through magazines like Muscle and Fitness magazine and stuff like that. But we didn't have no internet, bro. There was no YouTube, no Facebook. I mean, we barely had internet, you know. When I was lifting, when I was in high school, you know, we had like classic internet. I don't even think there was YouTube really, you know. But I used to get all the Muscle and Fitness magazines. That's where we get all our knowledge from. Just take like all the supplements from there. I'm like, yo, how come I don't look like Jay Cutler? I was like, oh, they've left out the. They left out
There's some other supplements there. Yeah.
They left out the testosterone, all the other stuff out there.
That's a side note.
I thought if I was just take NO Explode and what was the one? Muscle Milk. Do they still drink that protein?
Yeah. And even early on for us, like we were still reading like forums and stuff like that, and articles versus kids now have so much access to like video information and like people are making full livings off of it. So more and more people are piling on to try to provide more and more information and be the most knowledgeable person.
You gotta kick a few tripods over in the gym every once in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, so when you guys are getting your fitness in though, like, does somebody have to like take the bullet when you're holding the microphone and the other guys are gonna get the lift in? You know, like you're probably not gonna be able to. Does that affect? Does recording the workouts affect the workout? You think?
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, early on we kind of struggled that more. Just passing the camera. There's like a funny story of like our older brother throwing the camera on the ground.
Yeah,
like,
I'm already telling you about that. Hell yeah.
When he was just not like he was just want to focus on training, and we all were kind of like that. We just want to focus on training and focus on our workout, because if we're not getting a good workout, we're like, why are we filming in the first place?
Yeah.
But there's certain levels of sacrifice that you make for being able to produce content and stuff, and we're willing to like push back and forth with each other, and we've gotten better at it over the years. So.
I think we found also the balance of like separating the content from our actual training. So
That's
we'll go in and we'll like do training and like for the videos or whatever it is, and realistically a lot of our videos, whether it's like demonstrative purposes or like it doesn't need to be at max loads and stuff, but I'd rather prioritize my actual lifting, my actual training, which is a lot of the stuff that I'm genuinely passionate about, so that when I do go to produce whatever video or even just do what I love to do, it's at its absolute best level, rather than just a terrible session, not as good video. It's like I can fully focus on one and then fully focus on the other.
Yeah, for sure. So if you have like a lifting day, maybe like, you know, like for those 15, you have like a good like 20-second spurt, maybe. You ever do like just pretend like it was the same day, but kind of like mimic it a little bit, I guess, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, I mean we'll just like kind of tell it how it is. Like this is like what it is. Usually like if we're mimicking it, it won't be like an actual session. It'll just say like this is what like the purpose of the video is or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely times where we just completely separate the two and don't even like, we're just like, I'm training here, I'm not filming, I'll film later kind of deal.
Yeah. Man, do you ever feel like you perform less or better with the camera on or off?
Over the years I've kind of figured out a way to kind of manage that so that I can do well with both situations. I think more of it is managing like fatigue. So if I'm trying to do more content than I'm physically able to, because a lot of like the content revolves around being physically fit and capable and recovered and stuff. So I think just managing those two things kind of allows me to balance that, so that I'm able to be like aware of the camera, but also lift to my absolute max or whatever. So
yeah, for sure, man. Because like I know, like when I used to train at Tiger, right, they had like a lot of cameras and stuff like this, and bro, I'll be sparring, getting ready for a fight, or like my friend who's the video guy, he's like, yo, we're gonna film you today.
Like I gotta go.
And then no, like, and then he goes into sparring, and then like I'm getting beat up, I'm like, yo, get out of my face, the camera, get out. And like there's so much videos that I don't have content of me because I'm thinking so much about it, or like as soon as the camera comes, like I just didn't perform my best,
for sure.
You know?
No, for sure.
I hate that.
It's just a little bit lower. Like there's not really much risk to our content versus that. It's like it's kind of shitty because it puts you in a bad situation.
Like you
so
have the pressure to be on, and you actually have to be on, otherwise you get hurt.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh.
we just lift weights. There's no real risk.
But what about conditioning stuff? You guys hit the conditioning? Do you ever like you do anything for like high intensity, like heart rate stuff, like super sprints and
So I
things like
used
this?
to do a ton of. Well, I mean, both of us. I mean, you're doing more now, I guess, with regards to like this.
Yeah,
training.
we're doing.
But I used to do tons for soccer, and then as soon as I stopped playing soccer, I just kind of shifted so that I'm not doing it quite as much. But I do, like, every once in a while, I like to do it because there's nothing like a hard sprint.
Right,
It's
bro?
there's something different about that, and I think a lot of people lose that. Like, the things that people lose first are, like, the ability to jump, the ability to sprint. Like, those are the two things, and if you just keep them, I feel like it does something to your body, and that's not... I don't know if that's based in any sort of science, but I feel like it's just... There's something about it.
Yeah, for
Max
sure.
effort.
No, for sure, man. I've had fights where I'm just I'll do like hill sprints as my conditioning session, like once or twice. Hill sprints is the one.
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah.
There's not a lot of good hills in Miami though.
Yeah.
Tropical Park. You guys go to Tropical
Yeah,
Park
it's
and
pretty
train,
good.
right? You go. Have you seen the hill out there yet? There's a decent
when
little
we walked
hill.
around, there's a small hill with the trail. And
Okay,
stuff.
Yeah. That's like the best hill, but man, I could do that one like a lot, you know.
Yeah.
What I would do with that one, because it's kind of small, I'll do like 10 squats or like 10 burpees
Yeah.
before, and then I'll shoot up and come down and try to like rep it out. But we don't have like a real steep one,
Yeah,
you know.
or like the LA stairs where it's like just like 200 stairs just run all the way up is brutal.
There's a good one that I seen that Dominic Cruz used to run back in the day, somewhere in LA, bro. Like there's
Right.
like some or you know what it was? I think like what are those like alleyways? You see those in California where it's
Oh, like the
kinda
river?
like a sewer,
The
like it
Los
looks like a
Angeles
sewer,
River, yeah.
and there's like a long, I guess
The hills. Yeah, it's just
and there's like a long slopes of like concrete. I think I've seen people like doing
Yeah.
sprints and stuff like that, you know. But man, hey, California, you guys had to get out of there. Man, you guys are just running from goddamn tyranny, bro. You had Trudeau in Canada.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
You got what's his name in California? What's the name of this guy?
Newsom, right?
Yeah, Newsom in California. You guys had to come down to some freedom, bro, in Miami. Yo.
We were in Texas for a little while too. It's nice over there. So.
Oh yeah, how you like Texas?
Texas is cool, man. I genuinely enjoy it. I just wish that there was more stuff to do outside of the gym as far as like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a nature person. And even Florida is like a little bit lackluster for me as far as like California, like you said, you can drive out and you're going to mountains. Versus like
Yeah.
here, you drive like 2 hours in any direction. It's pretty similar. Even though you can go to the Everglades and stuff, but how often am I gonna do that?
Nah,
like
it's flat, bro.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do generally like Texas, and I feel like the people in Florida and Texas are very hospitable in general, which I like. So.
Yeah, Texas, there's not much there, right? Like, I want to go there for comedy, bro.
Yeah.
But then I see the thing, I'm like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it looks kind of crazy, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Austin's the one city we haven't checked out that we.
That's great. We got to go, bro.
Yeah.
I'll sign up for Kill Tony and we'll just wait and pray. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
It's the
I think-
entertainment city, yeah.
Yeah. Now it's becoming, and live music. I love live music,
Yeah.
bro. I got into live music in overseas in Thailand and Asia, like Philippines. They have a lot of like live music places where you could just go
Nice.
and do like cover bands and stuff.
Yeah.
That I got really into. Where they don't have too much. Now in Miami, I'm trying to find it a little more, you know.
Yeah.
So that's what I really like too, you know. But man, you guys don't do much nightlife, I guess, huh? Just grinding a lot during the day and stuff like this.
I don't personally. It's just never something that I've really been super interested in, and I mean.
Have you guys ever drank?
I've never drank.
In high school, like
It's
very
really.
early on.
So you never been drunk?
Not really, no.
Oh snap! That's a good thing though. It's not a bad thing. What do they say? Alcohol is like, they say it's like one of the worst things for you. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
it can
saying?
be,
Like
for sure.
the Arabic word for alcohol is like something really bad. Like it's a spirit and it kills your spirit, right? So
Right.
they call alcohol spirits, and it's like literally says like spirit killer.
Yeah.
I think that's like what the Arabic translation for alcohol is. You know,
Right.
it's like to separate us from our senses.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that it's the one thing that it's legal and pushed everywhere, but it's the worst for you,
Yeah,
bro. It's
it's
worse
crazy.
than I think it's worse than hard drugs, weed, everything. You know?
Yeah, especially because it is socially acceptable. I think it just puts this blurred vision, literally, in
Bro,
front of
100%.
people.
And people like I know I do comedy, and then like man, a lot of these places they pay you with drinks. Like you perform, you get
Yeah.
two free drinks, and you're like, oh my god, these people are paying with drinks.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of comedians they need to have a couple drinks before they get
To
on
loosen
stage
up, yeah.
and loosen up. Where for me it does the opposite effect. If I drink, like I'll start forgetting my lines and I
Yeah.
miss punchlines and stuff like this.
How long you been doing
You
the
get
comedy
sloppy,
thing?
you know? Since I moved back to Miami, yo.
Okay,
So
nice.
since 2021. I went out guns a-blazing, 2 years, crazy, like hardcore. And I kind of fell off in my year 3.
Yeah.
Which is fucked up because I'm like, yo, don't be like one of those jiu-jitsu guys who gets their blue belt and retires.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at right now. I got to stay vigilant
It's
because
a grind, man.
Yeah. It's like anything in life. When you first start lifting weights, same with like weights, bro. Like when you first do it, and your body, you grow like crazy. Remember, like
Yeah.
the first time you
The
lift,
newbie gains, yeah.
yeah, you get those newbie gains, and you feel like a new person, and it takes a while, but then you plateau.
Yeah.
You know, I
it
remember-
loses that spark, yeah.
And you lose that spark, and you gotta. That's where you really. So I'm at that plateau now. Where I
You
gotta
pick
break through.
the two hardest probably things, like the things that I have the most respect for. One is getting up on stage, like that. I don't just like that's insane to me. Whenever I see Kill Tony, I can barely watch it because I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, it's horrible. And then fighting, like those are like the two most like
Yeah, for sure.
insane things to take on.
Well, the fighting, I got lucky, bro. I did it when, honestly, like, there wasn't that many. It was still, like, a little bit fringe, you know? Like, when I was training, it wasn't, like, mainstream now where...
Yeah.
Nowadays, man, like, yeah, like
getting
you were
more
saying.
normal.
Yeah, like, you got kids. Man, I'm meeting kids that are 15, 16. They have more knowledge than I've
Yeah.
ever had, you know? Like, they've been training for 10
cool to
years,
see.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's good. My buddy's in a gym now where he has, like, a lot of young kids coming through. And that, yo, you guys got to check that place out. If you
Is that
done...
the one near Tropical Park? Is that what you're talking
No,
about?
no,
you mean
Bang
that?
Tao. You guys got to go to Thailand, bro.
Yeah,
Okay,
Do
right
some
on.
trips.
we've been talking about making an Asia trip for so long.
I'm telling
we
you.
haven't. I mean, my older brother and I went to Beijing a few years ago, but
When
we
Braden
want to
did
go.
Singapore and Indonesia and stuff, but
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't go to China with them?
no, I didn't. I was in Spain at the time.
Oh,
Yeah.
you were balling.
Yeah.
And you did. That's when. So you were doing amateur. You went to Beijing to do an amateur competition, right?
Yeah, for bodybuilding. Yeah.
Oh, so you was already like pretty serious when you were still playing soccer, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. What did you eat in China, bro? That's crazy, dog.
We just brought the air fryer, and then it was just
Yeah.
like we tried to find steaks, but it took us when we first got there. It was like we drove 45 minutes to an hour outside the city, so no one spoke English. Like there was no maps or anything, so we just kind of wandered around for like probably 4 or 5 hours until we found out like right next to our hotel is where the supermarket was, and it was like down an escalator in a basement, like under the mall.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to. It took us like 4 or 5 hours to find it, and then once we found it, we couldn't read any of the packaging on the foods. With the
Nah.
translator, it just said like beef or steak
Yeah.
or something. So we just guessed and we just picked it and tried to get the best sources, like from Australia or New Zealand, and then we brought it back and air fried it, and then we tried to eat from the buffet, but
Oh,
it
you
was-
see that? What's up with the buffet food, bro? Bones and everything, right? How do they put bones and everything in that
Yeah,
buffet food?
everything was covered in like
Right?
high fructose corn syrup,
It
just
was
pure
crazy.
sugar. So it was like the only thing from the buffet were like possibly the hard boiled eggs, and that's it.
Yep, man, I fought in China a lot. Like coming up, that was like the place to go. They were cause like now they're ahead of the game, but back in the day they were trying to do like China world domination. So they'll do like China versus the world. All their MMA shows would be like Team China, red corner,
Yeah.
against the foreigners. And they'll get foreigners from everywhere. But the catch is they'll pay you really good, but they're gonna give you the craziest situations, you know?
Right, yeah.
Like they'll fly me in and I'll get my ticket. To get my visa, they'll need your paperwork, you know? So
Yeah.
they'll get my visa to get my visa. And then they'll send you, but they're lying to the people there. They're like, oh, he's staying in this hotel, doing this, doing that. And then when you get to the airport, somebody picks you up, and then you end up driving like 5 hours out
Yeah.
in a little car. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
You don't even know where they're just taking you to a random city. So your visa said you were staying in like Beijing, and you're going
Yeah.
6 hours out.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were all getting in the van, and I didn't realize we were about to go on like on an 8-hour excursion. I'm being nice. This Kazakh fighter, he brought his whole damn family. It was only supposed to go with one person. So I let all these random people on the bus. I'm like, oh, you go first. There's like a few girls, you know? So I
Yeah.
let them go first, being polite. And then the van got full, and I had to sit in the middle, like in the sitting on the floor in the middle for like 10 hours, and we're
Yeah.
driving into the sticks somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had that same thing, bro. Like looking to the groceries, I would just find anything edible. Like I would find something that looked like sweet potatoes. I wasn't sure. Like it's definitely a potato, and we just cook it in the kettle.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
my key.
I was like, something's off because like none of the Chinese athletes are here at the buffet. They're all out, like they just know where to get their food.
Yeah.
And then all the other countries like Team Iran, like Team I don't know UK, like they're all just like at the buffet eating the like high fructose corn syrup foods. And
Oh, bro, I would just eat
like,
the fruit. They got water. They always got watermelon. They give you watermelon with everything in China,
Yeah.
which is dope.
Yeah.
Hey, were the buffets like those ones where like the table where they spin it? You ever sit on one of those big tables where like they feed everybody and
Yeah,
they have
that
like
one
the
was just
spinach?
like just metal trays and that's it.
Yeah. Oh, so there was other teams there? Like what do you mean? Like what do you mean by
Yeah,
teams?
so it's like it's one of the biggest. It's the Amateur Olympia in China, so it's like one of the biggest amateur shows out there, and they basically have teams that'll come out because most of Asia for bodybuilding and things like that is. It's tough for them to get pro cards versus America. We have several shots to get it versus overseas like China. They have one shot a year for their athletes to turn pro. So only one person out of the hundreds or thousands of people competing in the show are able to turn pro. So they have teams from Iran flying in, teams from like Africa flying in to compete at the show.
And none of them can get visas to come over. So
yeah, so that's why they only have one shot at their pro card, is they can't come to the States for the opportunity to turn pro.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, man. A lot of countries, bro, you forget how blessed we are that
For sure.
With the passport. It's amazing, bro. Life is crazy, bro. Like, you think people get ungrateful and stuff like this, but I'm like, bro, just being born, just having the birth lottery, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of like not being born in Iran or somewhere in the Middle East. Bro, even my friends in Brazil, they can't get over here. It's really hard to get visas. My boy, he's the 1FC champion, Fabricio Andrade. Number one prospect in 1FC, 25-year-old gun. They're not going to give him a visa to America.
Yeah.
He's tried 3 times. You know, like I was actually, I got to try to get a letter from, I got to ask Boxer to try to like get him a letter, you know, for his,
It's the
when
same
he
thing.
tries again, you know?
It's the same thing with bodybuilding. They have like the top 3 competitors in the entire world, and they won't be able to get visas to come over till like, I mean, even Branch from China, he's like 2 days in advance, which obviously with bodybuilding is very like, everything is aesthetic, so you have to like drop water weight. I mean, I guess it's the same with fighting. Imagine trying to like, you get in the day before, you fly in from holding all this water, stressed out, flying like 16 hours, however far it is, and then you got to cut however many 15 pounds the next day. It's like, it's not even possible. It's crazy.
Nah.
We
Yeah.
have a friend that was like, he's from China, and he got his visa approved. They tried like 9 times, and he's close friends with a government official there, so they were usually able to get a visa, but they tried like 9 times to get his visa, and on the 9th they got approved, but it was like 24 hours before the event in America, and he's in China, so he got the approval, he flew, and it was like 5 a.m. the day of the event that they arrived in on the airplane, and they're like cutting weight after the flight. They're trying to cut weight so that they can make weight like 2 hours after they land. So
Yeah,
he's just
supposing
doing-
on the flight to like try to drop water while he's flying and stuff.
Yeah, so he had to make weight and then compete the next day. So he had no time. He weighed in late too later than the other athletes. He got an exception for that. But he basically had no time to refeed, to fuel up, to fill out or anything like that. So he just wasn't able to perform at 100%.
Yo, so that's great. So how does it work with bodybuilding for like the layman? So I know most of the people listening to this are podcasts, MMA people, but how does it work for bodybuilding with the weight cutting and stuff like this? So like when you compete, you gotta like lose weight, right? It's like similar to fighting, right? With the weight cut and stuff like this, because you want to be lean where you can see like every striation, right? Like
most bodybuilders are very focused on maintaining muscle mass, and it's a balance because everyone has their own struggles. Like some people struggle to maintain muscle mass and fullness. Some people struggle to get lean, like they can never get that grainy look, and they can never get that muscle maturity that comes with time. It's like a fighter, for example, that has that kind of toughness you were talking about, like that comes with time, is like muscle maturity, and that certain look only comes with like 20 years of training. Like, it's just tough because they look for it, like judges look for it, and they're like, if you don't have that, then they won't reward you. So everyone's a little bit different, but
The water cut's not necessarily the same though. It's not as like concise. Like it's not like they don't have to cut as hard because they've already generally been dieting all the way down into that point. So it's just like it's like flipping the switch to make them like look aesthetically more like, appealing to the judges. So like the any water that they're holding subcutaneously, like under the skin, they're trying to shuttle that into the muscle or get rid of it completely so that they have that dry, grainy look that most people are trying to do. So a lot of it has to do with like sodium and water manipulation rather than like actually sweating it out. In some cases, extreme cases where they're really pushing the limits as far as where their weight is, then yeah, they'll sauna and stuff. But generally speaking, they try not to because that can ruin the look of the physique in
because
general.
they're just putting so much additional stress on their body through like sauna and like trying to force their weight down that they're not able to fill out properly. Their body just shuts down and they don't want to, like, it doesn't want to respond properly so that you can look your best, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then so when they're on scale, they're not at their best, huh? They're not feeling like 100%, right?
No.
When they get off, they need to like, what do you eat when you finish your competition? You have like go-to meals that you like to eat?
I mean, it's more like filling out, like after you weigh in, you fill out for the show, right? And obviously,
Oh, my bad. So wait, you weigh in first and then you compete?
it's just like
And they have a day.
with a fight, you
It's the same thing.
weigh in, you have a day, you have to refeed and fuel up. And basically, so that you look fuller, you look better. Because you're gonna weigh in and you're gonna look flat and you're gonna look depleted, and then afterwards you're gonna eat whatever foods.
It's usually just
suited to
carbs
you,
and
usually
sodium,
carbs,
yeah.
That's why they eat like simple sugars. Like
Yeah.
I hear about they eat like pancakes and syrup
Yeah.
before competition to
Yeah.
fill up or
rice
something like
cakes
this.
and like
Rice
jams
cake.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for weight cutting, like back in the day, we just cut a bunch of weight and then go to Olive Garden and eat pasta.
Yeah.
But then I googled and then like Lockhart diet. There's like a bunch of dietitians now, like Lockhart, Dolce diet, and they all say like, yo, that's the last thing you should eat. Like is pasta. You don't want to have simple sugars like white rice. You know what I mean? Things
Yeah.
that go quickly into your
Fast
bloodstream.
digesting,
You know?
yeah.
That's even like still a situation where it's like people like bodybuilders will be like, there's some that'll go and they'll diet hard, they'll get really lean and depleted, and then to carb up they'll have like pancakes and cake and stuff like that, and they'll just be like, I can binge on anything now just so I
Yeah.
look fuller and bigger. And like some people that are genetically blessed, it'll work out for them, but most people it's like if they go and do that, they'll just crash out or their body
Digestive
will respond.
issues.
Yeah, they'll have digestive issues and it'll just add stress to their body. So most people, they'd want to stick to cleaner sources and like things that won't hurt their digestion.
Or things they've been having throughout the prep. So like if you're training throughout, you're like whatever, you're going into a fight,
Yeah.
and you're having like some whatever carbohydrate source, like if you're having watermelon or whatever it is, your body's used to that, digesting and processing that. So leading into the fight, you're not going to be like in shock to it. Versus like for a bodybuilder, if they have completely chicken, rice, broccoli throughout their prep, and then all of a sudden they're throwing in pancakes, syrup, and all this different stuff, it's going to
Yeah.
throw their body out of whack. And
100%.
your body's already super vulnerable because of the state it's in. So
Yeah, fighters do that. Fighters still make that weight this mistake a lot. Like they'll make weight and then they'll go eat pizza and have all this crappy food the day after they make weight, and then you're about to cook, but you're not
Yeah.
there yet. You know, the people make weight and they think they're there, and they
Yeah.
start eating good. You know. And then you were like, man, but the real way to do it is after you make weight, is like you have to still eat like a certain type of way. You know, they have like your meals planned out all the way up until the fight,
Yeah.
and then after the fight is when you can splurge out. Because
yeah, the fighting weight cuts are insane to me. It's crazy to me when I see these guys going through it. It's absolute insanity.
Bro, 24 hours. Usually you cut all food and water for 24 hours out.
Yeah.
You cut all food and water, you know? And then you do a water load. So first you'll drink like, when you're cutting out the food, you start replacing it with water. But you
Yeah.
drink so much water that you're not even full.
Yeah.
And you got to pee all the time. So
That's
I'll
like
be
bodybuilding too, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys water load in bodybuilding?
Yeah,
So that when
so-
you sweat, you can sweat it all out, you know?
Yeah, and people argue how much you should be doing. Like, there's some people that do extremes for like sodium loading and
Yes.
things like that.
Uh-huh. I have all that sodium loading too, bro.
Yeah, and there's like there's different science on everything, right? So like some people think it's necessary, some people don't. Some people think like it'll just damage you more because your body's not used to it. So they just have the same amount of sodium as they've been
Yeah.
training, and they just manipulate water and things like that. So it's just different ways to manipulate it, right?
To what degree do you think performance is lost through the weight cutting process? Like, would it be better for an athlete to just come in lighter?
Way better, bro.
Yeah.
When I started fighting and won a championship, I fought at featherweight, which
Yeah.
is really 155, because somebody died cutting weight. A Chinese fighter died cutting weight in 1FC, like in 2015, 2016. This guy was
Yeah.
about to fight. Imagine, bro. Imagine you're about to fight, make money, to provide for your family, and he died in the sauna, bro. Like, he passed out and died. This is the saddest thing.
Yeah.
So they're like, all right, we got to stop this. So then they added 10 pounds to every weight class, and they do a hydration test now. So in 1FC, you fight, and then so like bantamweight is 135 to 145,
Right.
and you got to weigh in twice, and you got to first you pee, and you got to pass a hydration
Yeah.
test, and then you got to make weight. But before that, bro, I used to fight, and it was terrible, man. Like, I used to fight at bantamweight 135 pounds, where I'll be weighing like 150, 155, which if I'm fighting at bantamweight, I'm in all camp, I'm like 155 to 150. I try to get to 150 fight week and then just lose those 15 pounds, but bro,
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, I want to say like 30% of you is gone, bro. Like,
Well, I
your
see guys
ability
like
to take a punch too, you know?
Yeah, I see guys like Pereira, who's like crazy. Like, how much weight does he gain between? It's like 30 pounds or something.
Something crazy, bro. He
Yeah.
fights like at 220, 230, 240, I heard, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not good for you. I don't think that's good for you.
Well, that's
you
what
know?
I question. That's why I just don't know to what extent. Like, do you just lose performance in that whole process rather than just your body being used to being at a particular weight and then be able to perform? Obviously, weight moves weight, so to a certain degree, you can't like beat someone in basically a different weight class. Like, that's what it would be.
Yeah,
So.
this shit's crazy, bro. I feel like, man, some of these guys are just, it's like who can get themselves closest to death and recover quicker. That's
Yeah.
who wins the fight. This is the game,
Yeah.
right? It's crazy because you guys are both like, you
Yeah.
know, you step on the scale and it's like literally who recovers better. That's why they're recovering now with the diets, the way they have guys coming back, like slowly putting the weight back on. But I don't think you should do it. I think it's terrible. And
Yeah.
my ability to take a punch is way less when I cut a lot of weight.
Yeah,
'cause I
there's
think
no
the
water
fluid in
around your
brain-
head. Yeah.
Yeah, no, with strength sports and bodybuilding and like both of those, like whether it was powerlifting, strongman, or bodybuilding, they had to ban diuretics in most of them just because people were using them to push things to the extreme to just try to lose the water and like.
I've had friends take
get weight
diuretics
down.
to cut weight. I've had a lot of friends take diuretics is banned in the UFC now, but on other shows, like I know a lot of guys that like a lot of veteran guys that were UFC vets and now they're fighting like on main events on small shows.
Yeah.
Diuretics is huge, bro. They take diuretics, laxatives to make
Yeah.
you shit more. You know what I'm saying? To like clear your body out. It's mad, bro. That
I know.
the hardest physical competition in the world that you're about to do,
Yeah,
and you
you
literally
deplete
bring yourself,
yourself.
you
Yeah.
bring yourself to death, like the most unhealthy. You're better off
No,
with like
I
a
just wonder what the
pneumonia.
performances would be like if they just didn't, like in general.
Bro, look at 1FC though. The 1FC fights, they don't get tired, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now also, my takes part out. The drug testing is not too strict there, so
Yeah.
it might be a little bit of a help.
Yeah.
You know, you see these jacked ass fucking Asian. You know, you're like, yo, hold on a
That's
second.
off.
dog.
What's going on there?
This guy's looking like he's straight from the Congo. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like,
jacked.
this
you
guy
know?
doesn't have to worry about his stress hormones. He's got all these other hormones to take care
Yeah,
of. that.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So that's definitely a habit, help. But a lot of these guys, you can tell that when guys when they get tired, it's probably from the weight cut. You know?
Yeah, 100%.
So for sure, bro. Like when I stopped cutting weight, I felt like I could take a punch way better. My performance was way better.
Yeah.
And most people's sleep goes like to trash when they're cutting weight too.
Oh,
right? When they
yeah,
especially
bro,
when they're
you can't
crash
sleep.
dieting.
You can't
Yeah.
sleep the night before weigh-ins.
You
Nobody
drink
can
so
sleep.
much water. You're drinking so much water.
And you're peeing all night
Yeah.
long, peeing, bro. And I used to fly a lot, traveling to fight. Oh, that was the worst, bro. I'm flying to Guam, like 3 planes to Guam.
Brutal.
And I'm with bottles of water. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like we're landing, the lady's like, "Oh, and you can't get off the plane. You gotta pee so bad."
Yeah.
You know, you're like, ah.
Terrible.
That's when I hear Joe Rogan. They always talk about guys holding their. Oh, I'll tell you this though. In 1FC, you can still trick the system. This is how you trick the system, dog. For when they do the double hydration, you can still cut a bunch of weight. So I was like 165. I had to make 155.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll drink when I wake up in the morning. I'll drink a whole like liter of water.
Yeah.
And I don't take my morning piss, bro.
Right.
So you hold your morning piss when you wake up. You drink a liter of water, and then I go lose my weight. And then I go on the treadmill and I run. I'll lose like 5-6 pounds, or jump in the bath and lose 5-6 pounds.
Yeah.
I'll be on
And
weight.
you have more pounds from that. Yeah.
Well, no, I gotta pee so bad,
Yeah.
but I'm holding. And so in this time, it's opposite. In most weigh-ins, like you go in starving and you just want to eat and drink. But in 1FC weigh-ins, you just want to pee. So
Yeah.
I'll wait, and then I'll keep my hydration like that. So since I have all my pee holding,
Yeah.
the first pee that comes out is white, and then you pass the hydration
Holy
test.
shit.
So you fake the hydration test,
Yeah.
and I'm still on weight. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they
Yeah.
do it. They hold their pee, which is the worst. 'Cause you wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
imagine like you can't pee till 4:30.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like this, like
Oh my gosh.
everybody's like this.
Stress.
Everybody's like this, just holding
Why is
their
everybody
pee.
sitting all stressed out? Everybody has high shoulders and
Yeah, so I got really good at holding my pee. When I hear
One guy
Joe,
messes up, he's like, "Oh, it's game over." He's like,
Yeah.
"I'm sitting out."
no, some guys, you wake up in the morning, you pee, and then your pee's gonna come out. If it comes out yellow, you know what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
but that's the glitch in the system right now that they figured out.
right.
That can't be good for your bladder though.
No
you know what I'm
chance,
saying? Holding your
yeah.
pee for hours.
No.
But when I hear guys on Joe Rogan and he talks about how he can hold his bladder, I was like, oh, I can hold my bladder too, dog. I wouldn't fold in the JRE.
Yeah.
Oh man, yo, you guys, you ready? Yo, UFC 30. Oh, you're gonna be in California for UFC 305?
Yeah,
When's
we're gonna-
305?
Yeah, we're gonna watch it.
Yeah, and it's Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. we
This
will be.
Saturday, you know.
Yeah.
You guys, how long you guys been watching UFC? You're both big fan. Are you big UFC fan
I'm not
too?
as much of
Tristan?
a fan as him, but I'll watch it whenever it's on. I'll watch
Yeah.
it, but I'm not like as in tune with actual fighters and stuff as he is.
Yeah, I mean, just since high school, like since the end of high school, pretty much, just following along.
Does your parents watch UFC at all?
We all
dad.
kind of watched like the Ultimate Fighter growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
hell
But I always say to my friends and stuff, like, we're lucky because we're one of the last generation of kids, like, growing up in high school and stuff and growing up in elementary school who got to, like, go to public libraries and actually read books on, like, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali and stuff like that, versus now kids, I don't know, kids don't have that experience. They have the internet, but it's not the same as, like, going into a library and seeing, like, books about these people. It's not the same.
It's a different pedestal that you put them on. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But what's good now is though, like you can YouTube all Mike Tyson and see like all the documentaries
So
and fights
cool.
and stuff on him. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. If I could interview one person, I always want to talk to Muhammad. I think the Muhammad Ali is like the top guy I would ever want to talk to.
Yeah.
And I would love to see how he would be in an era like today. You know what I'm saying? Because,
Yeah.
bro, there's no athletes like him, bro. That guy stood up for his morals above everything. Where nowadays, isn't me or like, yo, everybody's about the money. Like, a lot of these, I would be too, though. I don't want to talk shit,
Yeah.
bro. Like, yo, you're going to give me $1 million? I'll say whatever you want, bro, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, man, a lot of these guys, like, they don't want to probably say how they really feel because they don't want to upset or lose a
Yeah.
sponsorship deal where Muhammad Ali went to jail, bro, for his beliefs in the middle of his prime. You know, like, that's a character that it's hard to match. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's tough to think about too. Like you think about all the young kids that look up to athletes today with social media and stuff. You wonder if any athlete is ever going to have the level of recognition and like idolization as back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. Like because it's not the same, right? Like people aren't idolized. People are like everyone's normal and everyone has a shot. So it's like no one's as special as they used to be because there's less regulation and less gatekeepers to sports or comedy or any kind of organization. It's like something special is lost in the sense that it becomes less rare.
Yes, it's a good and a bad, right? Because it's less rare, but then it's like who's picking who's the man. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of like, so you got to think about Hollywood, like in the actors, right? Like, are these actors? Are they the best actors? Are they the most good looking or the most person or like the people who signed up for the Harvey Weinstein? Yeah, it's a lot like nepotism. What do they call it? Like in-shoe-ins. We're like, yo, this guy's gonna get the gig because that's my cousin or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Or better looking than the better actor. You know?
Yeah.
So this is what's good about it, right? Because like in social media and stuff like this, anybody can blow up. You know, and it can be nothing. And it's not like you're not picked by the producers. We're like back in the day, bro. Like you know, but for fighting, I think it's a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can
There's still.
But bro, think about it. When Muhammad Ali fought, the whole world stopped to watch those big boxing fights. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
just
saying?
boxing isn't the same anymore as what it was.
Nah.
Yeah.
That was like the thing. You know what I mean? But I was talking to my friend the other day. We went to the bare knuckle fights yesterday. I was telling you guys about, and it's kind of interesting how MMA is so unique though. Because like, yo, bare knuckle. Like I noticed, not to knock on them, but man, like we saw the first fight was amazing, but after one fight, it's kind of like the same thing over.
Yeah.
It's just hands. You know what I mean? Like it's like all right, somebody's gonna get knocked out, or it's gonna be like a decision where it kind of got repetitive. And I noticed the same thing with boxing, like big boxing fights. Like I don't know if I would go to like a Canelo fight and watch all the fights before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You want to. That's why I think when people go for the boxing, they just go for the main event.
Yeah.
And it's a 12 round fight, so it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
But in MMA, bro, like
It's the most
I can
ultimate
watch,
form of controlled chaos.
Yeah. But in MMA, I can watch the whole card, bro. Like, and then you don't really get bored from the fights. You know, they're all so different. Like
Different
you can
styles.
really,
Different. Yeah.
Yeah, we were saying the other day, we are talking about how Rogan mentioned how Muay Thai should be like one of the top sports based off of everyone wanting to see striking and how it's so nonstop. But the component that it lacks in comparison to MMA is obviously like it's still one martial art.
Yes.
versus, like,
I think it lacks relatability in a sense too. Like a lot of people, when just coming off the streets, will look at an MMA, like a UFC fight, and be like, "Oh, like that, they're just like brawling."
Yeah,
And even
yeah,
though
yeah.
there's so much more past that, obviously
Yeah.
with technical skills and abilities, but because people can use so many different avenues to express that, I think that brings a degree of relatability, and eyes will always be drawn to a street fight. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah,
people see it
for
like that. I
sure.
know it's not a street fight, but.
100%.
But that degree of relatability, I think, draws more eyes. Yeah.
And then boxing
Yeah.
has that history of being
The history, dog. Boxing's
sport
history
of
is like
fighting.
Yeah.
gold, though.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more than like, it's like the sweet science, you know? It's less but more.
Yeah.
It's two hands, but there's so many intricate, I don't know that word.
Intricate.
Intricacies, you know? Intricate. There's so many little things, you know, just like, it's feeling, and there's so many different styles, you
Yeah.
know? Like, boxing is dope. Boxing will never die, you know? Like, with the,
Yeah.
and it's like, I love the shoes, you know? It's like something classy about it, you know? Like
sure.
the pretty boy, like Mayweather, but, the MMA is amazing, bro. Like you were saying, the expressing your art. And like, yo, the common guy, that's what blew up MMA. Forrest Griffin, Stephen Bonner.
Yeah.
That's the fight that changed the world, bro. They said that their ratings were going crazy as the rounds went on. That was on Ultimate Fighter, you know?
Right.
Spike TV.
Yeah.
And I think that's what drew all the regular people, because you see like a Forrest Griffin, like, oh, this is the guy that your next door
Yeah.
neighbor, you know, and he's like, and a lot of these guys, MMA fighters, they had regular jobs, you know, back in the day, the old school fighters, you know.
I mean, some of them still do. They work
Yeah.
regular jobs at the same time, depending
Man,
on.
that's the thing, though. The pay's not good, bro.
Yeah.
That sucks, you
It's
know.
tough.
There's not a UFC fighter still driving Uber.
Yeah.
Stipe Miocic was a firefighter.
Yeah.
Still a firefighter, you know.
That's very respectable, commendable.
Stipe Miocic. I don't know if he's gonna retire or what, but him and John Jones.
Yeah, it's
you know
gonna be
what I'm saying?
interesting. Yeah.
Who do you guys think is the GOAT? You have a GOAT, Tyler, for MMA?
I think GSP has always been like
Me
at
too.
the top of my mind.
Yeah, GSP's a shit.
I've always heard like people mention the difference between like the fighter, the martial artist, and the
athlete.
Yeah, the athlete. And I always had like people think like towards the athlete for GSP, the fighter would be John Jones, and like the martial artist. I've heard a lot of Mighty Mouse, so it's tough for me.
Mighty Mouse is tough. I love Mighty Mouse. It's just hard with the smaller guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't get that.
Can
like,
you put them up for like compared to a heavyweight or something? Yeah.
But GSP was like you said, he was a super athlete. He was the ultimate martial artist.
Of him, yeah.
And bro, he never lost, dog.
Yeah.
He had like one loss. His one loss is kind of shitty, you know, like he tapped out. He was talking about that on the Theo Vaughn podcast, you know.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of bravery though. Like, you know, he was talking about how he had to eat a lot of shit. You know, people gave him a lot of crap for tapping out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he said, yo, I saved my brain, and then he came back and smashed Sarah. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, to me, GSP was the best. He was my favorite, and he was the most articulate too, you know?
Yeah, it's tough because a lot of people knock him on taking breaks and things like that. But a large portion of that too was also he was arguing against the use of PEDs and things like that. And so it's a long conversation.
I know, but that's one guy that where I looked at his physique, I was always a little bit like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, where I'm like, but then now in retirement, he looks a little bit lighter. But then when he said that, it kind of had me thinking like, damn, but maybe he dabbled just to keep up or something. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
dog.
it's a weird world because you don't know like what people consider as like where they draw the line as far as what's right to use and what's not. And even if they are using things that aren't technically or are technically banned, some people believe they shouldn't be. And
but there's just also so much genetic variance between like, cause you can have one guy who's an absolute monster who doesn't use a thing, and then another guy that looks like nothing and he uses everything that he can, and you put them up against each other, you would never know the difference, or say they're both on it, they're both not. Like it's tough.
Bro, when he fought, he was talking about Jimi Hendrix. All right. Before USADA, Jimi Hendrix is the guy who like almost his last fight and in UFC, like people thought he lost, but they gave him a decision when he fought Johnny Hendrix, not Jimi Hendrix, that's the guitar guy. He fought Johnny Hendrix. Johnny Hendrix's body looks like nothing, but they were saying that he was on like the super sauce, you know. But he was maybe one of those, because I guess there's all different types of juice, right? Like not there's some juice that's just for cardio or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And when USADA came in, that's the guy who like lost every fight after. You know, like he didn't win a fight after USADA came in. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what GSP was talking about. Where he said, I don't want to name no names.
Yeah.
But if you look at GSP and you look at him, you're gonna think he's the one that was on. You think GSP would be the one that's on the sauce. You know?
Yeah, you just never know.
But he was a super athlete, bro. Like super genetic like you, bro. Like he was probably ripped like you were ripped since you were a kid. You know what I'm saying?
He's just a phenom. I mean, even now he just keeps up with it. He's clearly very healthy.
How good does he look, bro? I see him doing his shit. Like I bet you'll still beat up most guys.
He's constantly doing the gymnastics, sprint work, hurdles,
calisthenics,
everything.
Oh, gymnastics. I want to talk to you guys about that too, man. The gymnasts. So you guys have gymnast genetics, bro. Right? Or didn't you say like
Yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we didn't have much of a background with it in terms of ourselves, but yeah, our grandmother was an Olympic gymnast back in China before.
Yo, people don't know, bro. They're sleeping. I was going to talk about that before. China's on a route for world domination. We're going to see super athletes and everything of China. Dog, when I used to fight in China, bro, when I fought in China, this was the game plan, grapple and tackle.
Yeah, they're genetically building them for it, I bet.
Bro, I'm telling you, I seen the change. Like when I used to first start fighting, you go to China, you're going to take that guy down. They didn't know jiu-jitsu yet, but they were always really good strikers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because they have Sanda, you know, and they love kickboxing. They have really good kickboxers.
Yeah.
Muay Thai, not so much. And wrestling and jiu-jitsu, not so much. But when they got into MMA, they started bringing in Brazilians all over. Like, if you look at Zhang Weili, she has like a Brazilian coach. They brought in mad Brazilians to teach jiu-jitsu in China all over, you know? And I've seen the grace of that because I had a lot of friends who go to China. Like my one friend, he's an MMA fighter, and he went to go live in China for like 3 months, and he was teaching at this super nice gym in like Tianjin. It's called Tianjin Top Gym. And, bro, he said these kids were like, from 5 years old, like now, like they're getting picked. Okay, like you're the fighters now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just have them in the fighting system. So you're starting to see it now.
See
like
the videos
Zhang
of the reels of like these little kids that are like just absolute specialists in whatever they're doing.
Oh, and then the gymnasts in China too, right? Now that's what I was gonna get to. Like now, I'm sure with the bodybuilding, they probably want. Bro, I'm telling you, they want to master. They want to get great in everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's weird. I start seeing like more like taller Chinese people. Like I never saw a tall like Chinese guy other than like Yao Ming. And then now all of a sudden I'm looking on like videos of China and I'm like, these guys are like 5'8", 5'9". It's pretty like they're getting up there.
They're doing some, they might be doing some gene pooling out there. They got no rules, bro. People talk shit about communism, but one of the cool things is you can make your own Romero's, dog. you
Yeah.
know?
It's like 10,
Everything goes faster.
Yeah, they got no government, so it's like good and bad. I think when it comes to fucking,
There's no opposition.
yeah, exactly, bro. But my boy told me when he was training in Tianjin that these kids, they were getting taken to the freaking, they would take these kids to the clinic, and then I know the kids, they don't know what they're doing. They're just the coaches say go. You
I'm
know
sure
what
it's like
saying?
that in Russia too. I mean,
Russia,
yeah.
Cuba.
Yeah.
Have you heard the story about Yoel Romero? They say that
Yeah.
he's got like he heals differently,
Yeah.
bro. Like he's got.
yeah.
Was it his eye socket?
The frontal lobe or whatever, the bone, the
Yoel-
orbital bone.
The orbital bone.
Yeah, and there's a wrestler right now that my friend did a video on. There's like a Olympic wrestler, a heavyweight guy who's been
Yeah.
like wrestling for fucking like 20 years for Cuba, and he always wins. And that he took like 5 years off. He's like the 6'8" Cuban guy, you know. It took like 5 years off
Yeah.
from competition, came back, and he's still killing everybody, you know. It's
Yeah.
like-
Wasn't there just like a 41-year-old wrestler who just won Olympic gold?
I think that was that guy. I think that was the guy,
Yeah.
the older guy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
took like
Crazy.
6. Yo, he was dominating for so long. He took a break, and you know who he went against?
He had a nap.
He went, and then he went against another Cuban, and a Cuban who defected and was representing like France
Crazy.
or something, and he lost to this guy. And the
Oh
reason
my
why he
gosh.
defected was because this guy kept winning and kept taking his spot. And so it's funny, like you had 2 Cubans in the wrestling Olympics, and
Yeah.
one was a defected Cuban representing their country. That's what Hector Lombard did. He was in Australia for a long time. I think he was like a judo Olympian. And a lot of these guys, that's what they do. Like they'll go somewhere and they'll just sneak out and never go back.
Yeah.
But I don't hear too many people defecting from China, right? Like, do you
I
guys
don't know
hear
if that's
too many?
possible.
Like, what about the Olympic athletes? They don't want to, I guess, you know?
I'm not sure.
I mean,
Yeah, I have no
it's
clue.
tough. I mean, Olympic athletes have so much ties with representing a country, right? It's kind of tough.
Well, and the country provides a lot of the opportunities for them.
That's what I'm
so
saying,
it's
bro.
like to leave that and then come to another country where you're kind of hovering in that ground of not being accepted by either.
Yeah. And China's like, it's weird because China's like, they say it's like communism is bad, but it's also really efficient and really good, you know? Oh, when you went, did they have WeTransfer there? Yeah, WeChat and everything, right?
WeChat and just the certain things like you had to use VPN and stuff. And
You gonna say something? My bad.
No,
Just 'cause
I always wonder what it's like just living over there, just being a normal. Because like you always obviously hear of like the like super rare circumstances of whatever it is, and I guess I don't know how rare it is, but just to be a normal person, just living through your life, like it's probably so different.
Yeah, it's pretty chill. So they have a classes system.
Yeah.
So the thing is, bro, like the low class, they can't leave, bro.
Right.
The only people who leave, like the Phuket has a lot of Chinese visitors, you know,
Yeah.
like people holiday and stuff like this. And when I was coaching in Tiger Moods, I had a bunch of Chinese students. Like a lot of the fighters, I would fight a guy from China and then he'll come to Tiger and we'll be training together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I heard the guys, my friend told me that like you have to have like a certain class level to leave. You have like a certain education level, so they trust you to come back.
Yeah.
Number one, and number two is a lot of people have like VPNs and stuff like this, and a lot of them know they just can't because they have like that real credit system, you know. So like
can't say nothing,
yeah, and like they'll monitor like your
which is insane.
they'll monitor what you say, what you talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like you have to be really careful. And then they have VPNs. They do have VPNs, but like, yo, nothing Google works in China. It's crazy. When I first started fighting there, we still had WhatsApp and stuff like
Yeah.
this. No Facebook or Instagram, but WhatsApp. And then the second time I went, there's no WhatsApp either.
Crazy.
We just be in a hotel room, and if you don't download a good VPN before you go, you're just stuck there. Like,
Things
Yeah,
you take for
it's-
granted living over here, man.
Yeah,
Bro.
there's people I know, or the people that we know that live over there, and I see them post on Instagram. They're like, "I finally got the VPN working." It's like their first post in like 6
Yeah.
months, and it's like,
But
Yeah,
it's super
just
efficient,
crazy.
man. Like I had this one chick, she was taking us around, with a friend of ours that we knew from Thailand when we were fought in Beijing one time. And then we went in the car, she's like, oh, we're gonna go to a restaurant. And then she's asking us what we want to eat in the car. Bro, when we pulled up, we didn't have to like talk to nobody. We pulled up, she scans her WeChat. WeChat does everything. It's chat,
Yeah.
it's phone, it's reservations for
social
food.
media, like
Bro, this was in 2016, 15, I want to say, like primetime China fighting days, way before Corona. We go there, and they were so efficient, bro. It was crazy. Like, we walked into the restaurant, boom, she scans her thing, there's a table for us, and the food came out like 30 seconds later. Like, drink,
Crazy.
food. She already ordered the food and had it ready. Said what time
Yeah.
we're going to arrive. So the efficiency is like crazy.
we were
Yeah.
talking about the fast food restaurants the other day, like all the American restaurants, like the Burger Kings, the McDonald's, the KFCs. They're all next level over there, right? They all have like granite countertops, or they
Yeah.
have bakeries built into them.
Everything's huge, super nice, like big. And China reminds me of America. They kind of like copy and pasted America. Like they drive on the right hand side. Like the highway signs are green. Did you notice that? Like
Yeah.
the highway signs are green and stuff. You ever been to China though?
No.
Or, oh no, man. then you got to do some. You could probably kill over there with some content too, you know?
Yeah, there's some cool spots, definitely, for sure. Like, when I see other people that we know that are living out there and stuff, there's definitely some cool spots.
The fitness scene's so big in, like, Thailand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
You guys got to do, yeah. You
wanna
guys
do
got to
Thailand
do,
for sure.
you got to do, bro, Bangkok is crazy too.
Yeah.
Bangkok, they have a bunch of gyms like Boxer and then, like, the gyms here,
Yeah.
like, swole guy gyms, you know? Me and him were talking about the guy that died. I like that guy.
Joe Sedix?
Bro,
Yeah,
that
Joe
guy
Leonard.
was the man,
Yeah,
bro.
he's
The
so
German
nice,
guy.
man. He would just send me voice messages and just be super, like...
No way.
Yeah,
You knew this guy, bro.
I didn't know him. Like, I'd only met him once in person, or
No
twice
way.
maybe in person. Yeah, twice.
Met him in London.
Met him, yeah, twice in person.
And then in Dubai.
But he would just, like, he's just the nicest, most humble person in the world. Never had issues with anyone, never spoke negatively of anyone, at least that I know of course.
Nah, he was...
But he was just such a genuine person. So to see the industry lose someone like that was very sad.
I even like his videos, bro. And
Yeah.
it's funny because you'd be cutting around Bangkok and you saw like those gyms, bro. And then Bangkok's cool 'cause you have like Thai people, but
Yeah.
like now you have the Thai girls that are getting really into fitness. And they're like,
Yeah.
so the Thai girls were always very beautiful, but now they're getting like jacked and like getting big butts. You're like, oh, this is next level. You know what I mean? You got Thai girls looking like the Cuban girls in Miami. You know what I'm saying? But then like, yo, he had like a Thai girlfriend. I think she was the
Yeah.
one who released his thing, you know?
Yeah.
But nobody knows how he died or nothing, right? Like, how do you die? He died in his sleep, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think they came out. I think.
it was an aneurysm, right?
Yeah, it was an aneurysm. But
Yeah, that's crazy. But there's a lot of fitness bodybuilders in Thailand, and I noticed now since the pandemic, it's blowing up. You know,
yeah.
like a lot of people are there.
Noel Diesel. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's
Nah.
friends with Joe. He's like one of the biggest fitness creators. He lived out there for a long time, and I always hear like is the best. Like everybody's so happy.
Yeah,
And
it's dope. And you can get and then the pharmacies is like whatever you want, dog. It's crazy. You can just go and you tell a lady like, I want strong juice, and then just be like, okay. And they bring a damn pamphlet of like whatever you want, like
crazy.
pharmaceutical grade too, dog. You know, like
That's wild.
you just go to a pharmacy and get any gear whatsoever. So everybody's pretty jacked over there.
That's
you know what I'm saying?
crazy.
I just trained with this Chechen fighter, you know, and like I remember when I first started training with him. I won't say his name, but I was like, I remember the first time I rolled with him in sparring, and the way he was holding me down and just manhandling me. I was like, oh, I'm not UFC grade material. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna go, you know.
Yeah.
And then in USADA, he got popped, and I was like, oh, maybe
It
that
all
was
makes
alright.
sense now.
Yes. Like the ball just clicks, you know, like bro. When USADA came into the UFC, bro, and then all these guys started getting popped, like
Brock Lesnar.
I was like, because I always thought I wasn't genetically superior enough to be a UFC fighter. You know what I'm saying? From training with some of these guys, bro.
Yeah.
But now I knew the secret. I was like, oh,
It all makes sense.
yeah. Chael Sonnen said that about John Jones.
Yeah.
Because Chael Sonnen's like known, like he says everything he's done, you know.
Yeah.
And he said when he fought John Jones and John Jones had him against the fence, he's like, oh, I know your secret. That's the only reason why I don't put him as GOAT over GSP, because he has too many allegations. Dog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though, whatever, I feel like with those guys, that era, if everybody was on it, I don't care. You
Yeah,
know
it's
what I mean?
hard,
Like,
yeah.
if you're also beating a guy on gear, then that's just, I don't know if it's the best gear or the best, whoever's got the best dosage down or whatever,
But
you know?
you even look at GSP from an athletic standpoint. You see like the way like his shape, his like athletic structure, and like you can tell this guy's an athlete in all areas. Like if he wanted to go and do something like sprinting or gymnastics, you could tell he has the frame to do it.
He can compete in wrestling, bro. That guy can compete in Olympic wrestling. He's like the best wrestler. When he picked up wrestling super late, picked up wrestling in his 20s, and he can probably, I think he was trying to do like a Canadian Olympic team wrestling. He was training with the Olympic team. He's the first guy that got into gymnastics.
Yeah.
And he's the one that started incorporating gymnastics into MMA training.
Really?
Where, yeah, like if I have a kid or I have a young student now, like under 15, I'll put him in gymnastics.
Yeah.
Like 5 to 10, I'll be like, yo, put that kid in gymnastics and learn how to master your body.
Yeah, the proprioception.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you just show him the video of the 4-year-old Chinese kid who's doing like 3 backflips already, and you're like,
Oh, with
you're behind.
On the
Crazy.
rings, bro. You know what I'm
Insane.
saying? There's a lot of those. That's what I'm saying. But you got those little Chinese kids in every
Yeah.
aspect of sports right now. MMA to
So
wrestling.
just give it 10
It's not
years.
even 15
years.
just sports. It's everything like knowledge.
Yeah.
just-
Oh,
Yeah.
damn. The knowledge too, bro. Brain capacity too, bro. Like the work ethic is just. We got a lot of work to do, boys. We're in trouble, dog. We need to get off the
Our TikTok brains, yeah.
Yeah, man. Our TikTok is killing us. It's hard, right? Like with the consumption and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you guys have you need to make adjustments for your content to adapt to the new world? Like, because that's kind of slowly changed over your
Yeah, I
time.
think so. Just the nature of the content shifted because like now all of the platforms have adapted TikTok's model of doing short form reels and content and stuff like reels, YouTube Shorts, and then TikTok obviously. So I think people's attention spans have dropped pretty significantly, and I never like to pander to that, but there's also a certain degree of understanding that like okay, I don't know. I play the game of like it's fun to see the platform grow because then you reach more people. So like a lot of people will be like, well, I'm just doing me, but if you're just doing you and it's like not reaching anybody, ultimately your message is getting lost. So it's kind of difficult, right?
Yeah.
So it's finding a balance of being authentic and real, but also understanding that, you know, that these platforms are there for a reason and they're shifting for a reason. It's going to be shifting with the audience. So you can get your message, whatever the message is you want to cross through that algorithm or through that platform if you just make subtle adjustments that don't have to change who you are as a person necessarily.
And it's tough too because it's like you got to be able to do both because obviously there's people like podcasting and live streaming is bigger than ever, and they're both the longest form
It's extremes
content, and then with them they're taking all their long form content
Clips.
and getting clipped and getting it circulating, so more and more people are drawn in. It's like, I don't know, it's like being in martial arts and needing to be a complete fighter, or being in bodybuilding and needing to be a complete physique.
Yeah.
Everything has to come together and you have to be able to do everything, versus in the past people would say you can't focus on everything. You need to focus on one thing only.
Yeah, jack of all trades, master of none, right?
Yeah,
That's the
versus
tough part, bro.
now you have to take the
master.
time to be a master at several things, no matter what you're in.
It's like, and yeah, evolve or die and everything. I guess it goes across everything in life. You know what I mean? Like business and fitness industry, you got to keep up with the TikTok trends, you know,
Yeah.
like switching to the short term.
And now you got AI to worry about.
Oh my gosh, AI. And then that's another, like you were saying, that's really a good top. That's really true, bro. Like staying true to yourself. Where like, yeah, you got to find that line of staying true to yourself, but also, because then you can get caught just trying to get that algorithm.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to like, oh, trending. You know what I'm saying? Like putting a trending song because, you know, and you're just trying to do this challenge or, you know what I mean?
It's brutal. It's not the way to live, man.
And then you get lost, dog. And then you get lost in the sauce, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
when I first started, one time when I was fighting, I was making a lot of blogs when Snapchat was like a big thing, and I was making like funny Snapchats.
Yeah.
But then I noticed that I was like losing. I was like, all right, I'm not no more fucking making videos and worry about my training. Just focus on training.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but you kind of need to. But then a lot nowadays, guys, they get the money. They have the guy who does all that stuff for them.
Yeah.
You know. So
Yeah.
like a lot of these UFC champs, they'll have their content, but but they're not on the YouTube, you know. It's different from you guys because you guys are like a home-based operation.
For
you know?
sure,
But
100%.
even then, no
Man,
matter
you guys
what,
are running like a fucking big
Operation.
company, bro. Operation YouTube, like that's a real business just between the brothers. And you guys are all young, man, under 30, right? All of you.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, and it's at a point now, like in every industry, right, where no matter how like good you are at running things yourself, you have to eventually delegate things to everyone, and you have to keep building up more and more.
That's
Yeah.
huge. Yeah, I need to learn that too with this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because like I want to edit, I want to do it.
I mean, I still like I edit all my videos, and it's definitely not.
impressive.
It's not like effective because well, I mean, it's effective in the sense that it's gotten us to where I've gotten to, but definitely takes away from my creative capacity when it comes to actually creating the content itself, or even just efforts into training and stuff, where I can keep expanding my knowledge because you only have so much time throughout the day. But the hard part about the delegation is finding the right person to do whatever it is. So
Yeah.
especially with creative tasks, it's very difficult. It's not like handing over financials or something like that where there's more objective understanding. Like part of it is just me like knowing what works, or him knowing, or Braden knowing, our oldest brother, knowing like what works for our platform and stuff. So until we find that person, it's gonna be tough.
It's so true, bro. Because you gotta try to explain to somebody what you want in your brain. Like
Yeah.
you have a vision, and especially when you've been doing it yourself for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what's gonna pop and how it's good. And when you try to explain it to somebody else, and when they do it, you're just like, and then
Yeah.
and then it gets you mad on the inside. You're like,
Yeah.
yo, did you not hear it? You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a few minutes ago, you talked about like not wanting to lose your own creative ability, like or your own instinct as you go along, and like worrying about trends and stuff like that. And when you have to delegate to more people, you have to worry about the whole team just not losing track of like what's important, and not worrying about the small things as much as like your own instinct and your own what makes you you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're in a goddamn Mr. Beast situation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You're
it's
like, you
crazy.
got a goddamn
There's something
multi-million dollar.
coming out every other day now, or every day.
Hey, listen, I could have told you from my street senses and been around the block, and I've had a lot of life experience and traveling. Something was always off on that guy. Like, but in a good way, I guess. You know, like that he had like a little like disassociation. You know, like when he talks. But bro, super hustler, man. Like it's hard to take away.
You don't
right?
get to that position without having something different about you, for better or for worse. So I don't know what's going on, but
Me and Tyler were talking about that, bro. I know a lot of UFC champs, but I wouldn't want their brain. You know,
Yeah.
like you want to be the champ, but it's like, but do you want to have that
Yeah.
guy's like? There's a reason why he works like that. You know, like
but
there's
then you
some
meet the
type of-
one guy who's just like like doesn't have anything wrong, and they're champion. Like there's always the people that are like, yeah, you have to come from a tough upbringing, but then you meet the guy who's spoon fed and he's at the top, and it's like you just never know.
He's
It's
down
so
to earth. He's normal.
Yeah.
He's humble.
It's crazy.
I got a theory. You guys watch Game of Thrones?
I watched I watched Game of Thrones. Yeah.
I got a theory on it. You got to be like the Starks, bro.
Yeah.
You got to be the Starks of Winterfell.
Yeah.
You know, you got like Lannisters that like they
Yeah.
get everything and they're like a little bit posh and cocky, but it's like you can have it all and be spoon fed and still be a savage. Like
Yeah.
I think Volkanovski, like he's like that. Where like a lot of fighters come from broken families. Volkanovski just on pure work ethic.
Yeah.
That's ingrained from a child. You know,
I think so, your parents,
his
yeah.
dad, his mom was a workhorse. They come from a good. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then that transcends into everything because he was also a super rugby player. You know, he could have
Yeah.
been like a semi. I think he was like semi-pro. He went to his last year playing rugby. He went to like the championships. You know,
Crazy.
but he had that work ethic. You know,
Yeah.
that transcends. But I know when I watch Tony Hitchcliff and shit, and he's always like, "Are your parents together?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, that's why you're like." He hates people that
Yeah.
have it good. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yo, fuck you, dog."
I mean, comedy's something different too because you gotta pull from something emotional. And
You gotta
like,
pull from pain a lot of
yeah.
times. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes the funniest people are the most hurt inside. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah,
why
for
they
sure.
they try to make you laugh or make themselves laugh. You know.
It's very different from something that's that level of expression
Yeah.
versus.
Yeah.
And also, like, I've had a lot of shitty jobs where, like, I've met some of the funniest people at the worst jobs. Because you got to get through that job, you know?
Yeah.
So you just you're so
It's coping,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, but you're kind of like, so everything is a joke because you can't really assess it for what it is. You just kill yourself, you know?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
man, boys, we've been rocking for like we're about to hit 2 hours. So I want to make sure I get some more things for Tristyn before people be like,
Yeah.
yo, what the hell, man? So what's their training routine like for Tristyn Lee right now on the day-to-day?
So I mean, recently I've been training early, separate from these guys, just because they've been going a little bit later. So wake up, just train, then come back and then just.
What gym you go? Where do you train? At what time you work? Oh, I don't want to say what gym, but what time you? They're gonna have 8,000 people like. Eh.
Well, that's what's good about Miami or even LA as well, as that you can gym hop, and I just don't like being at the same gym ever. So I choose wherever's open. So like I had to search for a gym this morning because it's like Sunday morning at like 4 a.m. There's like no gyms open.
Bro, you're up at 4 a.m. today.
So
this is next level. Guys, this is why I want you guys on the podcast, bro. This is next level discipline and admirable for me. From a
Thank
fighter,
you.
bro, I admire both you guys, man.
Thank
Even Tyler is one of my students, bro. Since I've been training you, I have very few guys that like your discipline and work ethic, and it transcends, you know? I don't know how many YouTubers have the work ethic and discipline you guys have, but it proves
Thank
through
you.
your success, man, for sure.
Appreciate
So
it.
that's why it's such a pleasure having you guys, man.
Thank
for real.
you.
I want to make sure I
no,
get
we
that out
appreciate
there,
being
bro.
on here.
And Tyler, bro, like training you has been like an absolute treat, bro. I'm excited for everything in the future too, man. You know, the way you work, it doesn't matter, bro. Like, what's gonna happen in between, like you're gonna get there. You know, just putting, but the work ethic you guys put is admiring, bro.
Yeah.
When he told me he had a sugar in like 20, I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
I gotta hang out with these guys more, bro.
Yeah, man. If you surround yourself with it, like that's why like we spend so much time around each other. So
Yeah.
like we're always, and I don't know what it is, because I mean it's easy to be like all of us could just stop and like be complacent around each other. Like there's no real reason, but like we all just keep pushing forward. So it's a blessing to have like be able to surround yourself with people like yourself or people like Tyler or like
sure.
whoever it is, because you notice like it just gives you that, like you said, that drive and ambition to move forward on things. So as much as I can spend time around people who are like-minded like that, like the better.
I think that's a benefit of having three of us too.
Yes.
It's like you get families where there's like two siblings, or if there's just like, or two of the three siblings are not dedicated to the same thing, then it's like there's not much reason to be tied together. Versus us, it's like we've all, since the time we were early teenagers, kind of been on similar paths, have enjoyed the same things and like went out and did things together. So it's like it's easier for all of us to be like, this is what's good for us, this is what's not good for us, and like be able to bounce things off of each other.
Yeah.
Versus
It's like having three brains.
Yeah, and you guys can hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was in Thailand, when I was around all these UFC fighter champion guys, like I leveled up.
It's subconscious, dude. You don't need to say anything.
Exactly.
You just need to be around it. And
You just
like,
want to keep up. You don't want to fall
Yeah.
behind. You don't want to be the weakest link.
yeah, for
you know?
sure.
and
100%.
like relating to experiences, even like the younger kids, like even family members, like there's some kid that will go off to university and his brother would stay back, say at high school or something, and they'd be on completely different life paths and they won't understand each other's perspectives as much, versus us being in the same room or same building together for like 5 to 15 years. just doing the same thing every day, then it's like we
Figure shit out together.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
understand how to figure the things out together.
Yeah, I call it that Asian work ethic, dog. It's next level, bro. These people, I'm telling you, Americans got to step it up.
If you
in the
met our
West.
dad, you'd be like, "That's the whitest Asian guy I've ever met."
I met your dad at the gym, bro.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your dad's Asian, and your mom is she's Canadian, or where's your mom from?
Yeah, she's Canadian, but she's a mixture of like
Like European,
yeah,
like white,
Irish, English, Scottish, right? It's
Yeah,
just-
whenever you meet like something like a white person, they're always
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm half Irish,
Yeah.
Scottish." There's always like
nobody's
those
actually
three.
Canadian, right? Like,
All right.
Yeah.
I guess not, huh? Canada was like you guys get like
I mean,
European
there's, like,
settlers
close
went
to
over
the-
there.
Yeah, there's Native Americans, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We,
Oh,
we have
that's
part
the
Native American on our grandfather's side, but
Oh, that's awesome.
Or
That's my.
indigenous, yeah.
I'm super obsessed with those guys. Like looking into the native, like bro, the
So
old school
interesting,
spirit.
yeah.
I love the living off of nature. Like yo, they weren't educated, but they were a different type of smart. You
Yeah.
know, like they knew all the
For
foods
sure.
to heal. Man, like I say that about Thai people too. Like they don't have the education, but they're like a lot smarter. Like they just understand the body, like the foods, because it's such an old
'cause
culture.
and they had to figure it out.
And they had to figure it out,
Yeah.
so they know like what food is this for this, and like
understanding the benefits of the whole animal and
yeah, bro. Oh, for sure, man, because you can utilize that whole thing, you know, from
Yeah.
the bones to the skin to the.
It's crazy.
You guys aren't planning on being vegetarian anytime soon, huh?
Not in my lifetime.
Oh, you've done carnivore diet, right?
I did carnivore for 2 years. Yeah, 2
Oh
years.
my
and
God.
I did low carb for like 5 years. So
I don't know, bro. How was the carnivore? Carnivore just
Great.
no fruit, no vegetables.
I
no...
I love the mental clarity on it. My energy was really good. My gym performance was good, but I just couldn't eat enough food, and I got like super lean, like sub 5% body fat, and maintained that for like years. So like at the point that I was at, I had to put carbs back in to eat enough food to actually like gain fat to like grow and build muscle and
Yeah.
stuff. So I would say that's the one downfall, is that like protein's so satiating. Like if you just eat so for people who are trying to lose weight, it can be great. All the nutrients that you need are in meats, like all of like essential vitamins and minerals, all that stuff. So and especially if you're doing things like organ meats and stuff, there's some other benefits with like mental health and like all these different things. So a lot of people are lacking that stuff, and they don't see how it affects their entire life. And I think a carnivore diet is an elimination diet where it gives you perspective on, okay, like I feel great with this, and maybe I want to add this back in, and oh, this isn't good, but this is good, and then you can kind of just figure it out for yourself, right?
it also
Yeah.
teaches you to look for like the highest quality possible foods, because you're reducing your amount of food sources in general, so you're just looking for the highest quality only. So even if you're not doing a carnivore diet, if you're doing a carb-based diet, you're just adding more high quality food sources on top of
Yeah.
what you've already had.
Yeah, the organ meat is really good for you, right? Like that's like the liver
Can
and
be.
stuff.
Yeah,
We were
you
talking
can
about-
overdo it, but liver is like the most micronutrient dense food on the planet, without a doubt, not even a question. So what a lot of people lack, because they eat like shitty quality foods, or just
Yeah.
they just fill up on like foods that are nutrient void, right? Like they have nothing in them, but they're still like energy. Your body's going to use whatever you have, but that doesn't mean necessarily that you couldn't benefit from having other things. So like such small amounts of like an organ meat like liver and stuff has so many benefits that people just don't really know about, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. The food, man. They're saying like there's food that they sell in America that's illegal in fucking Europe.
Yeah.
Ingredients. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, I mean, some of these Instagram things you can go on you go crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to eat nothing anymore.
Well,
you
I
know?
mean, yeah, you could take yourself down that rabbit hole, and I think people catastrophize a lot of the food stuff, because nutrition is such a dogmatic field. Like everybody likes to pick a side and choose and try to join this community or that community with veganism or carnivore diet or whatever it is. And I think that if you make the main changes to your nutrition, you'll notice the main differences, and you shouldn't really necessarily get caught up in the minutia. If a person who eats all like whole foods, single ingredient foods, vegetables, fruits, meats, is going to be way healthier than the person who eats all high fat processed food, whatever it is, but avoids carbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really just like, it's finding that balance, because some people are just such perfectionists and dogmaticists that they get too caught up on minutia, right?
Yeah, for sure. But then you got the Hussein Bolts who had like 2 cheeseburgers
Yeah.
and break the record.
Yeah,
you know? So
Marshawn
it's
Lynch
like-
playing on Skittles, right?
Yeah. So like, you never know, right? But I definitely think it's those little. I call it like the 1%. You know, like when you
Yeah.
stack them up, especially
Adds
like in
up.
competition like this. Like when you see the difference, and like, oh,
Yeah.
that's the guy who's eating the like, you know what I mean? He
Yeah.
skipped that one or this and that. So,
For sure.
man, boys, that was a great chat. We're almost at 2 hours and we haven't even scratched the surface. So, all right. So I got a little distracted. All right. So Tristyn, a day in the life. So you hit the gym right away, and then
Yeah, most of the time I wake up, probably do like some little bit of work, like editing or whatever it is, eat a meal, then go to the gym, come back, and then a lot of my days just computer work tied in with like just movement activity to keep up with the physical side of things. So that's pretty much like my day. It's like literally eat, train, edit, sleep, repeat.
Yeah.
And then like social stuff we'll just go out and do whatever. It's not like it's like has to fit in every single day or whatever it is. So my day is pretty standard, and I like to keep a habit, or routine rather, because I find that I operate a lot better. So as soon as I'm able to establish a routine, especially with travel, like it's difficult. You're sleeping in different places, you're doing different things and activities, training at different times. So as much as possible, I try to dial that in. But like my training is a lot more simple than what it used to be. It's just once a day most of the time, occasionally 2 days. But most of the time it's just once a day, and then the rest of my day is just kind of filled with work and recovery. But when I played soccer, it was like so different because I had to fit in my gym training and fit in my team training. Like when I was in Spain and I was doing online schooling, it was like wake up, school, team training, team gym session, personal gym session, team scrimmage, and then like recovery or whatever it is, and then schoolwork sparse throughout there. So I was like training like 4 times a day and just going crazy. But now I'm like blessed to be in a position where I can kind of chill a bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely better on the body for sure.
Man, it was probably hard to keep the gains, huh, with the soccer? Because soccer's a lot of cardio, bro.
Yeah, it was a lot, but I mean, I just ate enough food, and I mean, genetics obviously plays a role in how much muscle you're able to maintain while doing that sort of activity. I've never been a super big guy. Like I weighed like 140 pounds or 130 pounds when I was playing soccer. So
How much you weigh now? Like about?
Like 170 around there.
Very nice. Yeah.
So,
What's the biggest you've gotten?
178 was recently, like the past, like last month. Yeah.
And that's when you were your strongest too, you think? Or
I probably, it was the first time I took like an off season to like actually try to gain size, versus the rest of the time I was kind of just main gaining or keeping generally the same body weight and just recomping my physique. But then I kind of hit a point where, like I'm sure with MMA, like you gotta, after a certain point, once you've learned the basics, you gotta do what you haven't done to get to where you've never got. Right?
Exactly,
So,
for sure, 100%, man. That's awesome, bro. And then what about for like, what about when you like? Do you have days when you're just like, I'm gonna rip out these, like when you want to bring out the 95-pound dumbbells? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you prep for that, or like you're just feeling good one day, you can throw them up, or
most of the time
you're like gearing towards that?
Because of like my body's in a good position, but it's only like the only time that I really ego lift is when I'm like just like I just want to have some fun for this video or whatever. And that's fine. Like people think everything has to be perfect all the time. It's like you're forgetting the one part of the training that matters, is it fun for you? Because you have to continue doing what you're doing. Obviously, you don't want to risk injury, but I kind of have found those boundaries. And so like whenever we're training with like someone, I'm like, okay, this could be good for a video or whatever it is. I'm like, why not just throw 100-pound dumbbells around or whatever it is. So
hell yeah. That's awesome, bro. And Tyler, both T. Like, who are you talking to? And you've been training for how long have you been training martial arts now? We've been training for about
It's been over 6 months now.
About 6 months. How you like the how's the transition from weightlifting to martial arts now, bro?
Good. It's a good transition. It feels like something I've been trying to shift to for a long time in terms of athletic ability and things like that, because I was so focused on wrestling and rugby and things like that before I started the bodybuilding training, and after I broke my leg, I was just focused on rehab, and that's what kind of led me down that path. But for a long time, it was kind of like something was missing from an athletic side of things, because bodybuilding and that stuff is always so fun, but even for Tristyn,
repetitive.
It's so repetitive, and even for Tristyn, even for Tristyn, he misses like soccer, and we'll go out and
competition, man.
And as much as we can, we go out. Like we'll go out. We used to skateboard more in LA, and then we'll go snowboarding every season if we can, if we're in a place to do it. And just go out, like even surfing, like we've only been like a couple times, but
for real, I don't know how to surf. You know how to surf? You guys can get on the board.
We're not good.
I never got.
But I want to learn like more and more and more. I love board sports. We love board sports in general. So
yeah, just the athletic side of things is just, it feels so much better to be doing things like that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. All right. That's the problem with me, bro. Like, I used to love lifting weights, but once I started training, it's crazy, but it does feel good. Like, when you get that pump, I love it. You know what I'm saying? But, bro, I like just the martial arts training, because it's like, that's the problem I found, too. Like,
well, it's tough, too, for sure, because, like, I'm sure, like, even if it's, like, if you're in love with soccer or football or something like that as well, it's like, if you fall in love with the technical side of things and, like, learning new skills and learning how to move better, it's like, you can dive so deep into that one thing that you neglect or you don't want to focus as much on the physical, but then it's like could you be benefiting from both if you're focused on training the physical and stuff? And yeah, you got to take more time and you got to be better with your time in terms of managing recovery and things like that. But if you're able, as an athlete in any sport, are you able to build a physical base where your joints are stable, your joints are healthy long term, like your career. I can't say career. Your career will be like, you'll have way more longevity.
Yeah.
So like you talk about GSP and his longevity across the sport for so many years. And even like guys like, I don't know, like Yoel Romero, who's like so much older than everyone else.
Bro, 45 years old, slanging and banging with the best of them.
And you see him, he's like built like crazy.
Jacked.
So it's like, if you have the physical development of your muscles, your joints, your ligaments, your tendons, your strength, and you continue to maintain that across your entire life, then you won't lose it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
As long as you manage the practicing with the technical capacities as well and keep them, because that's where people are like, weightlifting makes you bulky or stiff or any of that stuff. It's like, it's not that. Like, if you took a 200-pound fighter and they were like thin or slim or whatever it is, and then you had a guy that has like a lot more muscle, if they both had the same time to practice the technical ability, the guy with the muscle would have that.
He's gonna win.
100%.
Yes.
But the issue is that it takes time to build muscle, so that's pulling away from the technical side of things. So you have to find that balance.
It's a understanding what the one person needs at this time, what they need more of, right? You look at freaks like Elaine Engelani, we talked about before,
from NFC, yeah, he's jacked, dog,
just,
you know?
Like ridiculous.
Dude,
he's got so much respect from the bodybuilding side of things, the strength training side, as well as the martial arts side. It's
the guy is jacked, and he can throw a spinning wheel kick, and he looks like a bodybuilder. You know what I'm saying?
You can't deny the skill that's there. It's just...
Yeah, people always say, like, oh, jiu-jitsu, size doesn't matter. I was like, whoa. If you get two guys and they're the same level, size is going to matter, dog. Like, you get me, guys, you get me, and you get somebody who's, like, same as me, but 200 pounds, you know, it's going to be a lot harder.
It's just another differentiating factor.
Yeah.
100%.
But like you were saying, the finding the balance is hard because, like, a lot of things that would hinder me, like, if I don't do the weights for, like, 2-3 weeks, then I'm like, oh, I don't want to go do leg day and then be sore for training. And then I do legs and I do jiu-jitsu and I can't even wrap a triangle. And I'm like, oh. So then it's like, you got to find that balance for sure, bro.
You have to know, like, what you need at that time. You have to take the ego out of it and be like if you're...
Be very objective.
Yeah, if you could want to do something all the time and it not be good for you, right? So
for sure, man. And what's good about you is, like, yo, 22, or how are you, 22, right?
I'm 23.
23. Bro, I started training when I was 22 years old. And so think about the advantage you have. You have the athleticism and agility and all those good things that now you can put into use in the next sport. You know what I'm saying? So, and the world's your oyster, bro. You got plenty of time. You know, you could be a black belt within the next... Before 30, you can be a black belt with the consistency training every day. You know what I'm saying? And that's the good thing about this sport. And then the knowledge that we have now, it's like, it's the perfect time to jump in, for sure, man. Especially with the previous experience of athleticism, you know? Yeah. Yo, boys, that was a great chat, man. I really appreciate it.
Having us.
Yeah. Yo, Tyler, thank you for setting this up. 100%. Tristyn, always amazing, bro.
Thank you.
I love when we're training, dog. We're like, yo, is that Tristyn Lee taking photos of us, dog? I feel like so bad. Like, yo, I don't think this... But that's good. Oh, you got the good ass photo skills too, bro.
I try.
Yeah, man.
That's what happens when we shoot each other all the time. That's all it is.
You guys got mad skills, bro. Even without what you do now, you can go you can become an editor of somebody or run somebody's channel easily, bro.
It's always been plan B.
Back and forth so many years.
I know, right? That's when you get AI and, like, learn how to manage a base, and, like, you can have, like, put a system where you can just start, like, running YouTube channels or something like that, you know, like have 5 channels being ran at the same time.
Yeah, maybe when this avenue's exhausted, who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone just gets so frustrated, you throw the camera in the bag and then someone else is like, we gotta get the job done, and you pick it up and you circle around, everyone keeps throwing the camera on the ground.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, boys, so you guys are going to California soon, right? Well, when are you leaving? Tuesday?
Yeah.
You're gonna do what? You got to go land some deals. You got some meetings and stuff like this.
A lot of this is more of a personal trip. We're gonna try to find a spot.
Oh, that's right.
Get out there soon. So.
Oh, it sucks, man. You guys did your time, and bro, less than a year. I think you ain't lying, bro. Learn how to surf. You know what I'm saying? You got the best jiu-jitsu in the world. So you know what I'm saying?
California's definitely got the martial arts for sure.
Yeah, California's got everything, and maybe I feel like since everybody left Texas, there's like an opening right now. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna need a young Joe Rogan out there, dog, to hold it down. You feel?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, bro. Texas looks rough to head up. We gotta hit up Austin and see, but
yeah.
Anyways, boys, that was a great chat. I really appreciate it. Anything you guys want to plug or promote, you can do it. Like, where can people find you, Tristyn, for the MMA guys?
Tristyn Lee on pretty much everything. And then Tyler, guys.
Just official Tyler Lee on Instagram, and
Hell yeah, official Tyler Lee. Thank you so much, boys. think that's about it. We think we close this bitch up. Honey
Thank
Badger Hour. We are out.